Chapter 1188 The Iron Rooster that plucks feathers. The dried old man had been worried about finding the Hongmeng heaven and earth fruit all these years, so he was especially sensitive to these words. When he heard Yun Chujo say this, he was first stunned, then he sneered and said, "You little brat, you sure have a lot of tricks up your sleeve. I've eaten more salt than you can walk, and you still want to lie to me? Scram. Get as far away as you can." Dean Huangfu lit a candle in his heart for the old man. No matter how arrogant he was now, he was afraid that he would be slapped in the face later. TSK, this Yun Chujo really had a stomach full of evil water. She would definitely take revenge for the smallest grievance. Yun Chujo smiled at the old man and then took out the Hongmeng heaven and earth fruit from her storage ring. She shook it and said, "Senior, you said it yourself." Then he'll scram. "Don't worry, I promise to get as far away as possible." When the old man saw the fruit in Yun Chujo's hand, his eyes immediately widened. Yun Chujo didn't even see how the old man moved, but the fruit in his hand had already fallen into the hands of the old man. Ha ha ha! The heavens really have eyes. My life shouldn't have ended. With this Hongmeng heaven and earth fruit, I can regain my former might. The old man laughed hysterically. Dean Huangfu suddenly understood why Yun Chujo wanted to anger old man Jiang. This little girl was extremely meticulous, afraid that if old man Jiang suddenly saw the Hongmeng heaven and earth fruit, he would be very excited and might even die. That was why she had angered old man Jiang. After old man Jiang had quarreled with Yun Chujo previously, and was pleasantly surprised to see the Hongmeng heaven and earth fruit, his emotions wouldn't be so sudden and wouldn't cause harm to his body. After the dry old man laughed out loud, his mood calmed down. Then he saw Yun Chujo looking at him with a smile that was not a smile. The dry old man's face immediately turned red. He stammered, "Well, you guys stay here. I am in a hurry." "Senior, even if you are in a hurry, you have to return the Hongmeng heaven and earth fruit to me first, right? That is my spirit fruit, not yours," Yun Chujo said with a smile. The dry old man naturally knew that Yun Chujo was taking revenge on him. His old face turned green and red and purple. He gritted his teeth. "My good disciple, Master was just teasing you. In the future, Master will leave all the good things to you. Don't worry, Master doesn't have anything else but spirit stones. In the future, if anyone bullies you, you can use spirit stones to smash them to death." Yun Chujo felt that the time was right. If she took chow again, perhaps the old man would become angry from embarrassment. Therefore, she respectfully knelt down to the dry old man. "Master, please accept my bow. My good disciple, quickly get up." The dry old man's eyes turned red. The reason he taught Yun Chujo the ancient characters was to take her in as a disciple. However, he felt that he didn't have much time left, so he didn't bring it up. He didn't expect that it was because of his momentary kindness that he actually took in such a good disciple, allowing his old illness to recover. "Master, don't use words to deceive me. Give me something practical. Don't you have to give me something good?" Yun Chujo said shamelessly. The dry old man now found Yun Chujo 120 times pleasing to the eye. After hearing it, he didn't get angry. Instead, he laughed out loud and swung his hand to give Yun Chujo an immortal tool. "My good disciple, this jade token is a defensive type immortal tool. It can withstand a fatal blow from a 5th level spiritual venerable. Keep it well. When Master tidies up the things one day, whatever you can use, Master will pass it to you." Yun Chujo immediately beamed with joy. "Master, I'm not picky. If you can't use it, just give it to me." The corner of the dry old man's mouth twitched. So it turned out that I was talking about a greedy disciple, and it was the kind of iron rooster that would pluck feathers from a wild goose. Chapter 1189 Babies were for fun. Dean Huangfu saw that the two of them had completed their apprenticeship, so he said, "Elder Jiang, do you need to hold a ceremony or something like that to accept Yun Chujo as your disciple?" The dry old man thought for a moment. "Not for the time being. Although there has been no news of my enemy, he might not be dead yet. If I find out that the little girl is my disciple, I'm afraid it will be disadvantageous to her. We can discuss this matter again after my cultivation strength recovers." Yun Chujo realized that ever since she saw the Hongmeng heaven and earth fruit, the old man's aura had changed. He was a strange old man who was eccentric before, but now he had the aura of an almighty. It seemed that this master of hers was an extraordinary person in the past. However, it was also true. Since Dean Huangfu was so respectful to him, his identity must not be simple. Although Yun Chuzhou was curious, she didn't ask. If there were some things that she wanted to know, her master would naturally tell her. The dry old man said to Yun Chuzhou, "After the pill is refined, I'm afraid I'll have to go into seclusion for 2 to 3 months. You can't slack off, understand?" "Master, don't worry. I'm a good student who studies hard and trains hard. I won't slack off," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. The dry old man looked at Yun Chuzhou's smiling face and felt that the days that he had no expectations for suddenly became lively. He felt that it was a blessing from heaven that he could take in such a disciple. Time flew by quickly. Another month passed. On this day, Yun Chuzhou came to the Long Wind Inn again. After Elder Su checked her pulse, he sighed again and again. "Have you eaten all the nourishing spirit herbs?" Yun Chuzhou nodded. "According to what you said, I've taken all of them according to the dosage." "Why? Are you still not getting better?" Elder Su nodded. "There's no progress at all. I'm afraid that this old man's diagnosis is not accurate. Sai, it's better to find someone else to take a look." Yun Chuzhou was already mentally prepared for this, so she was not too surprised. After thanking Elder Su, she returned to the Tianyuan Academy. Yun Chuzhou took out the voice transmission talisman and told Di Biming about the matter. Di Biming comforted her. "I told my master about your matter a few days ago. I think there will be a reply soon. Little Joe, you don't have to worry too much about this. Let alone being able to cure it. Even if you can't, I won't take it to heart. I've decided on you. No matter what you are, I like you." Yun Chuzhou's heart warmed. She knew that Di Biming was not good at expressing himself. He was able to speak so bluntly because he was afraid that she would worry too much. "Prince Charming, don't worry. I won't worry too much. There will always be a solution. Even the Tian Dao can't do anything to me. Why would I be afraid of this small illness?" Yun Chuzhou kept the voice transmission talisman and could not help but sigh. Other things were fine, but if the sunflower water did not come, she would not be able to conceive in the future, so she would not be able to have a baby to play with. The little black bird rolled its green bean eyes when it heard Yun Chuzhou's words. Damn it, this black-hearted master actually did not let go of her own baby? Xiao Hanyo thought to herself. Other people use babies to be used for pain, but she was good? It was actually used to play. Poor little master. Your future days will definitely be filled with suffering. As the mid-year grand competition approached, the atmosphere in Tianyuan Academy suddenly became tense. The students began to cultivate even harder, afraid that they would be dissuaded. If they were dissuaded, it would be too embarrassing. Yun Chuzhou counted with her fingers. It was time for her to break through again. The spiritual power accumulated in her body was enough. She only needed an opportunity to break through. Moreover, she was confident. The number of levels that she would break through this time was definitely more than 2. This was because a month of training in the trial tower was comparable to half a year of cultivation. Chapter 11. 90. Yun Shang was hopeless that afternoon. Yun Chuzhou had just had lunch in the canteen when she noticed that the sky had started to darken. She raised her head and saw that dark clouds were beginning to gather. It seemed that Wu Yun was preparing to strike her. Yun Chuzhou jogged all the way to Dean Huangfu's courtyard. The guard no longer stopped Yun Chuzhou because Dean Huangfu had given an order that Yun Chuzhou could enter at any time. Dean! Dean! The heavenly lightning is coming again! Yun Chuzhou shouted as soon as she entered the courtyard. Dean Huangfu realized that the sky had darkened. He knew that Yun Chuzhou was going to be struck by lightning again. Dean Huangfu opened the isolation array with ease and then took a chair to the side. He calmly said to Yun Chuzhou, "Just come. Why are you shouting? Roast a few more spiritual potatoes. I'll put them in my storage ring and eat them slowly." The corner of Yun Chuzhou's eyes twitched. This old fox's skin was getting thicker and thicker. Just as Yun Chuzhou was complaining, the clouds were getting thicker and thicker. Yun Chuzhou raised her head to take a look. It was not the dark clouds that struck her last time, nor the dark clouds in the Liuhua desert. It seemed that the one who came this time was Mingxin. Mingxin was good. Mingxin could easily be angered by her, so she could strike her for a little longer. This way she could break through more layers. Moreover, she had consumed quite a lot of thunder spiritual power before, so she could let the 3 malefactors absorb more. Yun Chujio took out a handkerchief to wrap her hair, and then sat cross-legged on the ground. Boom! Wu Yun casually hacked down a bolt of heavenly lightning. In its eyes, she was just a little trash at the first level of the spirit sect. No matter what kind of spiritual root she had, a bolt of heavenly lightning could make her vomit blood. However, after it finished hacking, it found that the little girl below was fine, and was still sitting cross-legged. It was probably because it did not strike accurately just now. Again. Boom! Another bolt of heavenly lightning struck down. Then it realized that the little girl was still fine. Wu Yun was a little confused. It seemed that the heavenly lightning spirit root was indeed a little different. However, it did not matter. 2 bolts would not do. 20 bolts would definitely be enough to kill it. Hence, the continuous heavenly lightning began to strike Yun Chujio. After half an hour, Wu Yun felt that he must have seen the little girl's corpse. Perhaps even her corpse was gone. However, what the hell was that smiling face there? Stupid cloud in the sky, are you a newbie? You're really weak. If you don't know how to strike lightning, then don't strike. It's simply too embarrassing. How could such a weak lightning be called heavenly lightning? It should be called rookie lightning instead. That's not right. This is really insulting a rookie. I might as well call it a weak chicken lightning. Ha ha ha. Wu Yun had never been provoked like this before, and was instantly enraged. Several heavenly lightning bolts struck continuously at Yun Chujio. Damn girl, you are really audacious. You actually dare to challenge it. Today I will definitely turn her into ashes. The heavenly lightning bolt struck continuously again. Yun Chujio sat in the pit and roasted the spirit potato while provoking Wu Yun. Wu Yun naturally wasn't willing to be outdone and continued to strike. Dean Huangfu, who was sitting at the side, looked up sympathetically. This piece of Wu Yun would most likely be angered to the point of vomiting blood. Meeting such a little pervert was a disaster for it, Yun Shang. The heavenly lightning continued to strike for more than 6 hours. Other than a few more pits on the ground, nothing changed. Yes, there was even a pile of roasted spiritual potatoes. Wu Yun in the sky already felt that Yun Shang was hopeless. How could such a little pervert appear in the Tianyuan continent? If it knew what it said, it would not come. After this, Ben Yun's self-confidence suffered a serious blow. Ben Yun really wanted to cry. Chapter 1191 was another trouble caused by Guai Chao. Wu Yun felt that he wouldn't gain anything if he continued to hack down, so he floated away dejectedly. Yun Chujio waved her claws. Little Yun Yun, you are welcome to continue hacking next time. Next time, bring a little more thunder spirit energy and hack a little more thoroughly. This time, hacking is really not satisfying. When Wu Yun heard Yun Chujio's words, he floated even faster. Pervert. This was a pervert. He would never come again. Dean Huangfu asked Yun Chujio with anticipation, You rose 2 levels this time? Yun Chujio smiled smugly. If I only rose 2 levels, wouldn't I be letting down the suffering I suffered in the trial tower? Then how many levels did you rise? Dean Huangfu ridiculed in his heart. Comparing people was infuriating. If an ordinary person rose 2 levels at once, they would probably be so happy that they would die. Yet, this fellow actually didn't pay attention to them. Yun Chujio stretched out 4 fingers and shook them. Only 4 levels. Originally, I thought I would be able to reach the 9th level of the spirit sect. Unfortunately, I've only risen to the 8th level of the spirit sect. Looks like you'll have to enter the trial tower again if I have the chance. Dean Huangfu's face was blank. Only 4 levels? Rose 4 levels in 2 months? In less than half a year, this little girl had risen from the 1st level of the spirit sect to the 8th level of the spirit sect? If someone had said this in the past, he would have thought that he was talking in his sleep. However, this had actually happened to Yun Chujio. It was no wonder that the Tian Dao did not approve of her talent. It was simply too heaven-defying. Dean Huangfu had initially been a little worried about the life and death arena. Now that he looked at it, there was no need to worry at all. Not to mention that Yun Chujio would still level up in the next 2 months, even if she did not level up, with her full of evil schemes. She could easily trick Yin Xinlian to death. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and adjusted her spiritual power to the 2nd level of the spirit sect. After all, it wouldn't make sense if she didn't level up for such a long time. The corner of Dean Huangfu's eyes twitched violently. This guy was really evil, hiding 6 layers of spiritual power. Some students would definitely suffer in the upcoming mid-year competition. Dean Huangfu opened the isolation array, and it was still the same formula. The spectators were also used to the same argument. Even when they saw that Yun Chuzhou had advanced to the 2nd level of the spirit sect, there was no reaction. After such a long time, she should have broken through to the next level. Yun Chuzhou walked out of the courtyard and saw that Deputy Dinan had learned his lesson this time. He stood far away and stared at her with a malicious gaze. Yun Chuzhou smiled at him. Deputy Dinan, why are you standing so far away this time? The heavenly lightning is here to strike me, not you. Besides, you haven't done anything wrong. What are you afraid of? When everyone heard Yun Chuzhou's words, although they didn't say it, they all looked at Deputy Dinan. They thought that what Yun Chuzhou said might be true. If Deputy Dinan hadn't done something shameful. Why did the heavenly lightning strike him repeatedly? Deputy Dinan's face was livid. He gritted his teeth. Stupid girl, keep showing off. This year's mid-year competition was your death date. Deputy Dinan naturally wouldn't lower himself to argue with Yun Chuzhou. Moreover, this generation's heavenly lightning strike was getting more and more shameful, so he left in anger. Yun Chuzhou pouted and hopped back to the dormitory. As soon as she arrived at the dormitory, the voice transmission talisman in her storage ring started to vibrate. Yun Chuzhou used her divine sense to probe inside. Di Baiming's voice came from inside. Little Jiao, Master has sent me a message. Your situation is probably related to the Guai Chao. It absorbed a lot of nutrients from your body previously. Although you were able to make up for it after cultivating, your blood and qi are still being absorbed by it. Therefore, before getting rid of the Guai Chao, I'm afraid you won't come to Kuei Shui anymore. Chapter 1192 Smelly Face Without Guai Chao. Di Baiming continued. Little Jiao, you don't have to worry. If Master has the time, he will personally meet you. At that time, he will definitely have a way to help you get rid of the strange grass in your dantian. After Yun Chuzhou replied to Di Baiming, she cursed at the strange grass in her dantian. Damn it! Damn dogtail! Go Weiba! Where do you think you grew up? You just had to grow in my dantian. In the past, you caused me to become black and thin, but now you're actually delaying me from giving birth to a monkey. Just you wait, I won't let you off. Guai Chao curled up her leaves in guilt. She had no choice. After all, only her dantian could absorb the power of lightning. Moreover, it was not like the broken mirror and the broken pearl that did not need to absorb nutrients. It was forced to do so. Yun Chuzhou cursed for a while. She remembered that the 3 malefactors in her dantian had a headache. Each of them was more worrisome than the other. Perhaps the 2 of them would bring her some harm. Damn it, they came uninvited. They were shameless. The great void mirror and the black bead that had been vented their anger glared at Guai Chao. It was all your fault, Guai Chao. It was rare that Guai Chao did not move, because it had fallen into deep sorrow. The gigolo's identity was not simple, and the stinky girl was no ordinary person. There must be a way to get rid of it in the future. Could it be that it could only turn back into a seed? Sob sob. It did not want it. It still wanted to cultivate into a human body. However, it did not dare to have the thought of killing Yun Chuzhou now. If that was the case, it might not even have the chance to turn back into a seed. The gigolo's seal had not been removed yet. If the seal was removed, sob. Just thinking about it was terrifying. Yun Chuzhou sighed. Anyway, there was no good way. She would talk about it in the future. It was better to prepare for the mid-year grand competition first. She had used up a lot of resources in the trial tower, so she had to replenish them before the grand competition. Therefore, Yun Chuzhou sent a voice transmission talisman to Enfeng, telling him to buy and collect some things. After receiving Yun Chuzhou's voice transmission talisman, Enfeng was dumbfounded. Was Miss Zhou going to the grand competition or to settle down in an family? What the hell did she want? 10 sacks of chili flour? 10 sacks of salt? 10 sacks of pepper flour? Several large rocks? This was understandable, but what did he mean by asking for 10 zhang of red cloth? Was he planning to make a wedding dress for himself? Enfeng did not understand, but he still followed Yun Chuzhou's instructions and started to buy or collect the things she wanted. Then, he gave all the things to Yun Chuzhou during the break. And Feng could not help but ask, Miss Zhou, other things are fine. But why do you need those red cloth? Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, to fight a bull. To fight a bull? To fight a bull? Seeing En Feng's confused look, Yun Chuzhou told him everything that happened in the trial tower. En Feng was stunned. How could this be possible? A single red cloth could make a level 22 single-horned bull jump off a cliff? A few days later, the day of the mid-year grand competition arrived. Dean Huangfu did as usual the mobilization before the grand competition. It was nothing more than asking everyone to do their best to avoid being eliminated or something like that. He also emphasized that during the grand competition, they were allowed to fight with each other, but their lives must not be harmed, otherwise they would definitely be expelled. After Dean Huangfu finished his speech, he announced that the people in charge of the mid-year grand competition this time were Deputy Dean Xiao and Deputy Dean Zhang. Of course, there was also a group of instructors following them. The faces of the first-year students were a little flushed at this moment. They were both excited and a little perturbed. They were excited that they could test out what they had learned in the past 6 months. They were perturbed that they were afraid that their results would be eliminated at the end. In comparison, the students from the Heaven class were much more confident. They believed that even if they eliminated 100 students, they wouldn't be eliminated, let alone 50. After all, the Yellow class was at the bottom. Chapter 1193 would probably not survive. The 4 teachers in charge were obviously divided into 2 groups. Mo Hanxuan, Ji Bingyu, and Cheng Yuenda were talking and laughing together, while Ji Xiao was standing at the side, expressionless. The Huang class students were also very uncertain. They felt that the person who was eliminated was definitely someone from their own class. Please don't be me. Everyone boarded the spaceship in order and headed to the destination of this year's mid-year competition, Crimson Cloud Valley. On the spaceship, all the first-year freshmen were arranged in a hall. There was no need to divide them. Every student from each class took the initiative to sit together with their classmates. At the beginning, everyone was silent. No one spoke. After a while, everyone started chatting when they saw that there were no instructors watching over them. As they chatted, they inevitably talked about the mid-year competition. Insulian said, "You all don't have to worry. The person eliminated is definitely from the Huang class. I heard that some people in their class haven't learned how to materialize spiritual power yet." Hearing Insulian's words, someone immediately echoed, "Yeah, this cultivation relies on talent." In the end, the people from the Yellow class barely managed to squeeze in. Not only will they be eliminated by 50 this time, in my opinion, in the future, there will always be people who will be eliminated in the mid-year competition. By the time they reach the 5th grade, they will all be eliminated. This is because they will only be eliminated in the mid-year competition. If they are eliminated every semester, they will be eliminated by the 3rd grade. It seems that the Academy has really put in a lot of effort to set up the Yellow class. This is to ensure that our 3 classes are not eliminated. When the people from the Yellow class heard everyone's discussion, their faces turned green with anger. Although they also felt that their strength was the weakest, it was too much of a bully to be mocked in public. Shut the fuck up. If anyone spouts nonsense again, do you believe that I won't let him participate in the mid-year grand competition? Yun Chuzhou stood up and said coldly. Although everyone felt indignant when they recalled Yun Chuzhou's past deeds, they still shut their mouths embarrassedly. This Yun Chuzhou was extremely daring. If she really risked it all and didn't participate in the grand competition, she would beat them up. It was really not worth it. Yin Sulian glared fiercely at Yun Chuzhou. Slut, you can continue to gloat. This time, 4th grandfather had made meticulous arrangements. Crimson Cloud Valley would be your burial ground. Crimson Cloud Valley was about 5 days away from the Tianyuan Academy. The first 3 days were uneventful. Other than resting, everyone was meditating and cultivating. Even if they were not quick to sharpen their spears, they would still be fine. On the 4th day, Deputy Dean Zhang and Deputy Dean Xiao suggested that they go to the Scarlet Cloud Valley to wait for everyone. Therefore, the 2 of them took the small flying spirit tool and left. No one paid too much attention to them. On the 5th day, when everyone was meditating and cultivating, they felt the spaceship jolting violently. It was as if the entire spaceship was about to capsize. At this moment, a teacher rushed into the hall and shouted in panic, We have encountered the attack of the nine-toed golden eagles. All of you hurry up and prepare for battle. Otherwise, none of us will survive. The students immediately exploded. At this moment, the sound of sharp attacks could be heard from outside the spaceship. In some places, the sharp beaks and claws of the nine-toed golden eagles had already reached in. Oh my God! Aren't the nine-toed golden eagles demonic beasts on the 25th floor? That is equivalent to the first to second floor of a human spiritual venerable. Moreover, there are hundreds of them in each species. We are doomed this time. Yeah, Deputy Dean Jiang and Deputy Dean Shao are still better off, but they're not on the spaceship now. I'm afraid we're really going to die. Woo-woo, I didn't expect that the mid-year competition would be our death journey. If I had known earlier, I would have rather been eliminated. Chapter 1194. Buying method with spirit stones. The teacher shouted anxiously, "Stop complaining. Let's stop these nine-toed golden eagles. If they break through the spaceship, no one will be able to escape. You guys form a group and quickly attack the nine-toed golden eagle's beaks and claws. Don't let them get in." Hearing the teacher's words, everyone hurriedly accepted the challenge and used their spiritual power to attack the nine-toed golden eagle's beaks and claws. However, the nine-toed golden eagle's beaks and claws were extremely hard. The attacks of the students were basically useless. Very quickly, the spaceship was pecked open one by one. The nine-toed golden eagles desperately tried to squeeze in. Everyone became even more panicked. A nine-toed golden eagle pounced towards Yin Sulian. Yin Sulian was so frightened that she took out a talisman and threw it at a nine-toed golden eagle. After a loud sound, although the nine-toed golden eagle was slightly injured, Yin Sulian had blown a big hole in the spaceship. More nine-toed golden eagles rushed in through the hole. Yun Chuzhou stood at the side and cursed, "Yin Sulian, you little bitch. You are so stupid. If we are eaten by the nine-toed golden eagle, we will not let you go even if we become ghosts." Yin Sulian saw everyone's reproachful eyes. She shouted, "If I don't use the talisman, do I have to stand there and wait for death? Yun Chuzhou, you don't have to blame me. Don't you always think that you have many evil ideas? Why can't you do anything now?" When those students heard Yin Sulian's words, they had long forgotten the words that mocked the Huang class. They pleaded, "Yun Chuzhou, Yin Sulian is right. You have always been the smartest. Quickly think of a way, or else we will all die here." Yun Chuzhou could not help but sneer. "What can I do? I am the class monitor of the useless Huang class. It is better for you students with good talent to think of a way." When everyone heard Yun Chuzhou's words, their faces were filled with embarrassment. Yin Shuecheng suddenly shouted, "Yun Chuzhou, as long as you protect me from death, I will give you 100,000. No, I will give you 200,000 high-grade spirit stones." When everyone heard Yin Zucheng's words, they recalled Yun Chuzhou's past performance. This fellow was greedy. Perhaps it was because we didn't express our feelings that she said there was no other way. She could even pass through the trial tower. What were these nine-toed golden eagles? Hence, they shouted one after another. "Yun Chuzhou will give you 200,000 as well. Think of a way quickly." Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. These idiots were all fence-sitters, and the students of our Huang class were the cutest. She said with a troubled expression, "All right, then I will reluctantly give some advice. This nine-toed golden condor has a strong body, but its eyes are weak. Don't attack its beak and claws, just attack its eyes. Other than that, the students with fire spirit roots will use fire to burn their feathers. This way we can temporarily force them back." Everyone was dumbfounded. Was it that simple? Just a few words were worth 200,000 high-grade spirit stones? However, now was not the time to think about this. They all followed Yun Chuzhou's instructions and attacked the nine-toed golden eagle's eyes. Although the nine-toed golden eagle's spirit power level was much higher than theirs, its huge body could not enter for the time being. Only its neck and claws could reach in, so its attack power was very limited. Therefore, many of the nine-toed golden eagles were forced to retreat. Before everyone could be happy, the nine-toed golden eagles changed their strategy. They actually used their huge wings to pounce on the spaceship, trying to force the spaceship to stop. This way, when everyone came out of the spaceship, they could eat to their heart's content. Chapter 1195. Get as far away as you can. The spaceship was sinking rapidly. It was obvious that it could not withstand the attack of the nine-toed golden eagle. What should we do? It's over. It's really over now. Once the spaceship lands on the ground, we won't have any advantage at all. We're doomed. Yeah, if we knew this would happen, we would have kept attacking their beaks and claws. That way, we wouldn't have angered them. Insulian heard everyone's discussion and glared at Yun Chujio. Bitch. Did you do it on purpose? You spouted nonsense just to earn money, and now we're all going to die because of you. When some people heard Insulian's words, they also blamed Yun Chujio. That's right. It's one thing for you to be greedy, but I didn't expect you to be so vicious. You don't care about anything just to earn money. We were really blind. We thought you were a good person, but we didn't expect you to be an ingrate. Yun Chujio, even if we become ghosts, we won't forgive you. The Huang class and Feng Ming were so angry that they were trembling. These people were simply unreasonable. Shut up. Previously, it was you who insisted that Junior Sister Little Nine help you think of a solution. Now you're framing Junior Sister Little Nine. Are you still human? Feng Ming roared angrily. Forget it. She just wants to earn our spirit stones. That's why she spouted nonsense. She is guilty of a great sin. Students, let's throw Yun Chujio out. Maybe the nine-toed golden condor will let us go when it sees the culprit appear. Insulian said loudly. Her lackeys immediately echoed her words. Some of them were blinded by death and also started shouting. Although most of them did not move, there were still 180 people rushing towards Yun Chujio. They wanted to throw Yun Chujio out of the spaceship. Feng Ming and the other two and the Huang class people naturally would not sit idly by. They immediately confronted those people. Both sides did not give in to each other and were about to start fighting. Yun Chujio suddenly burst into laughter. Everyone was stunned. Was this Yun Chujio scared to death? I have seen shameless people, but I did not think that there would be such a shameless fool in a place like Tianyuan Academy. Ask yourselves, was I the one who forced you to give me the spirit stones? It's true that I was the one who suggested the method of attack, but don't you have the ability to differentiate between the two? To take a step back, if I didn't have the method I suggested, do you think those nine-toed golden eagles would have already devoured you? I was clearly the one who let you live a little longer, yet you want to repay kindness with enmity and kill me? Since that's the case, then don't blame me for not speaking of the friendship between classmates. Students of the yellow class, follow me and jump down from this gap. I guarantee that you won't die. As for the others, get as far away as you can. In the future, even if you give me as many spirit stones as you can, I won't care whether you live or die. The students of the yellow class were stunned. Jump down? Wasn't jumping down the same as sending themselves to their deaths? Those nine-toed golden eagles were demonic birds. They would devour them before they could land. Seeing their hesitation, Yun Chujio sighed. If you believe me, then follow me and jump down. If you don't, then do as you please. After Yun Chujio said that, she jumped down from the gap. Feng Ming and the other two followed her without hesitation. The Huang class members looked at each other and gritted their teeth. Forget it, the class leader had never cheated them before. This time he believed that he would not cheat them. They were all going to die anyway. Jump! None of the members of the yellow class jumped down with them. Insulian ran to the gap and looked down. Then she laughed loudly and said, haha, they were all eaten by the nine-toed golden condor. These idiots, only this spaceship is safe now. Maybe the teachers have already sent a message for help. As long as we continue to persevere, we will definitely be rescued. Chapter 1196. You are really too cold-blooded. Although some people could not bear to see Yun Chujio and the Huang class people being eaten, they did not have the spare time to sympathize with them. They had to think of a way to save themselves. Insulian suddenly had a thought. The cabins next door were the instructors' cabins. Their spiritual power was stronger, so it must be safer there. Therefore, Insulian wanted to go to the cabins next door. But she found that the cabin door in the hall could not be opened no matter what. It was useless to use spiritual power to attack. At the critical moment, the broken cabin door actually failed. It was really detestable. At this time, the flying spirit tool had already been forced to land on the ground by the nine-toed golden eagles. The flying spirit tool was quickly broken by the nine-toed golden eagles. Although these students tried their best to resist, They still could not escape the fate of being eaten by the nine-toed golden eagles. For a moment, miserable cries continued to ring out. Some students were directly frightened to the point of fainting. Class monitor, how did you know that this was an illusion? A student from the Huang class stammered as he looked at the terrified expressions of those students. It's very simple. Do you think that Deputy Dean Xiao and Deputy Dean Jiang would say something about leaving early for no reason? They are the teachers leading the team. How could they abandon us? Moreover, that teacher's acting was too fake. At the very least, he had to arrange how the students would fight and how they would escape. How could they retreat after shouting a few times? Most importantly, when we were fighting, the 4 teachers in charge did not show up. This was very abnormal. Moreover, do you think the spaceship is so fragile? The nine-toed golden eagle can break it with just a few claws? The teacher who set up this illusion is really not very smart. The Huang class members were stunned when they heard that. Compared to their class leader, their brains were like blockheads. Why didn't they think of so much? Class leader. Then how did you know that jumping out of the spaceship was an illusion? It's very simple. Isn't the ultimate goal of this illusion to let you die? If that's the case, then just take the initiative to seek death. This way we can end the illusion earlier. Originally, I wanted to earn more spirit stones, but I didn't expect those idiots to actually suspect me. Since that's the case, let them enjoy themselves for a while longer. Yun Chuzhou said while stroking her chin. The people from the yellow class rejoiced in their hearts. Fortunately, they had jumped out together with their class representative. Otherwise, with their class rep's vengeful character, they might not have been tortured. The people from the Huang class were chatting and laughing. On the other side, Yin Sulian and the others were filled with fear. Cold sweat was dripping down their faces. They were really venting their anger. They deserved it. I told you to slander our class monitor. You should have been scared to death. For hours later, those people finally opened their eyes. Then they looked at the scene in front of them blankly. They were still inside the spaceship. Nothing had changed, however. Yun Chuzhou and the people from the Huang class looked at them with disdain. What was going on? Weren't they all eaten by the nine-toed golden eagle? How come they didn't die? Finally, someone exclaimed, "It's an illusion. What we experienced before was an illusion. Just like the 3rd round of the entrance exam. Everyone woke up from a dream. So it was an illusion. No wonder they didn't die." Yun Chuzhou and the others who jumped off the spaceship earlier than them had already left the illusion. Yin Sulian saw Yun Chuzhou looking at her mockingly. She could not help but become angry from embarrassment. Yun Chuzhou, you are too heartless. Since you have already left the illusion, why didn't you wake us up? You just watched us being tortured? You are too cold-blooded. Chapter 1197 was worse than having a dog. Yun Chuzhou was so angry that she was amused. Yin Sulian, do you think that everyone has to follow you around? I'm not your father or your mother. I have no obligation to help you without any regrets after you framed me. Of course, even if you want to be my daughter, I won't accept you. You're too stupid. You might as well have a dog. Yin Sulian was so angry that she raised her hand and was about to slap Yun Chuzhou's face. Yun Chuzhou's eyes darkened and everyone heard a few loud slaps. Then they saw that Yin Sulian's face was swollen like a pig's head. Yin Sulian, if it weren't for the rules of the academy, I would have killed you long ago. So don't provoke me in the future. Otherwise, I'll beat you up every time I see you. Yun Chuzhou said coldly. Yin Sulian was so frightened by Yun Chuzhou's evil aura that she didn't dare to say a word. She felt that if she said another word, Yun Chuzhou would really kill her. Even the students were also shocked by Yun Chuzhou's sudden cold and fierce look. For a moment the hall was silent. Yun Chuzhou clapped her hands. Previously, who said that they would pay me 200,000 upper-grade spirit stones? Hurry up and transfer them to me. Otherwise, don't blame me for not being polite. Everyone was afraid that Yun Chuzhou would really treat them like Yin Sulian. So they obediently transferred the spirit stones to Yun Chuzhou. Only then did Yin Sulian react, and she shouted like a mad person, "Yun Chuzhou, you beat me in public. Just you wait, I'll go ask the dean and teacher to make a decision for me right now. Just you wait, you'll definitely be expelled." Before Yin Sulian could leave, the cabin door of the hall was opened, and Deputy Dean Xiao and the others walked in. Deputy Dean Xiao's face was gloomy as he looked at the crowd with displeasure. Yin Sulian said with tears in her eyes, "Deputy Dean Xiao, Yun Chuzhou beat me in public. You must stand up for me." Deputy Dean Xiao was non-committal and asked Yun Chuzhou instead, "Is Yin Sulian talking about the matter?" Yun Chuzhou's expression was even more aggrieved than Yin Sulian's. "Deputy Dean Xiao, this Yin Sulian is just spouting nonsense. She was the one who slapped herself. She went crazy in the illusion. She said that she wasn't human and slapped herself. Now she's framing me. How shameless." The corner of Deputy Dean Xiao's eyes twitched. This Yun Chuzhou really didn't even blink when she lied. If he hadn't seen the scene before, even he would have believed her. Deputy Dean Xiao looked at the crowd and asked, "Yun Chuzhou and Yin Sulian, who said it was true?" The students from the Huang class naturally shouted, "What the class monitor said is true." Yin Sulian's face was slapped by herself. "It's most likely because she has epilepsy." Yin Sulian was so angry that she gritted her teeth and looked at the students from the other 3 classes. What she didn't expect was that a large number of people also said, it was indeed Yin Sulian who hit herself, not Yun Chuzhou. Yin Sulian almost fainted from anger. These people were clearly on her side before. Why were they actually speaking up for Yun Chuzhou now? She did not know that these people felt that they had offended Yun Chuzhou just now. Now was a good opportunity to make a contribution and atone for their sins. Otherwise, this little pervert Yun Chuzhou might not take revenge on them. Moreover, everyone knew that Deputy Dean Xiao and Deputy Dean Yin were not on good terms. It was impossible for Deputy Dean Xiao to side with Yin Sulian. Even if it was really Yun Chuzhou who hit them, there would not be too heavy a punishment. Since that was the case, why did they have to offend the little pervert again? After Deputy Dean Xiao heard it, he said unhappily, "Yin Sulian, it seems that you really framed Yun Chuzhou. How outrageous. I'll let you off this time. If you offend her again, the academy rules will punish you." Chapter 1198, Crimson Cloud Valley. Yin Sulian gritted her teeth in anger, but she also knew that Deputy Dean Xiao and Deputy Dean Yin were not on good terms. "When my 4th grandfather becomes the dean, all of you will not have a good ending." Deputy Dean Xiao continued, "Although the illusion just now was not included in your assessment results, I am extremely disappointed in your performance. Not only did you not have the ability to respond to danger, but you were also timid and cowardly. You framed your classmates, and there were even some who were prepared to sacrifice their classmates to save their own lives. This kind of character is really despicable. You all should take care of yourselves. Even if such a character gains power for a moment, you will be punished sooner or later." After saying that, Deputy Dean Xiao flicked his sleeves and left. The rest of the teachers shook their heads and left as well. The qualifications of this batch of students were indeed much worse than the previous ones. The students were all dumbstruck. Although some of them didn't think much of it, most of them still felt ashamed. When they thought of their previous performance, they couldn't help but feel ashamed and self-reproach. Yun Chuzhou couldn't be bothered with them. She found a corner and sat down, continuing to meditate and cultivate. After coming out of the trial tower, Yun Chuzhou's desire to become stronger became even stronger. In her previous life, she had implicated Chi-Chi, but in this life, she had to become stronger. If Chi-Chi also transmigrated, then she would be able to protect Chi-Chi. A day later, the spaceship finally arrived at Crimson Cloud Valley. Crimson Cloud Valley was named after the unique crimson cloud grass. From afar it looked like a brilliant cloud. Crimson Cloud Valley had been isolated by the Tianyuan Academy's array formation into a large area. The demon beasts inside were all below level 19, so after these students entered, their lives were basically not in danger. Deputy Dean Xiao said, "Your mission this time is to obtain the demonic beasts' inner cores and spirit herbs. The demonic beasts and spirit herbs of different levels have different points, and the students ranked last in the 50th place will be eliminated. The duration of this competition is half a month. After half a month, you will return the same way you came. If you exceed the time limit and do not return, your result will be 0. In addition, the talisman seal inside the Scarlet Cloud Valley is ineffective, so don't take any chances. You think that with the talisman seal you can take advantage of it. Also, flying is forbidden inside. Do you understand?" Everyone nodded in agreement. Only then did Deputy Dean Xiao open a gap in the formation and let everyone in. Everyone walked in groups of 3 or 5. Only the Huang class members followed closely behind Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou felt that although this showed her cohesiveness, it was also very easy for them to develop a sense of dependence. Hence, she said, according to the group, the trial will be carried out. We will gather here the day before the trial ends. Everyone pay attention to your safety and take action on your own. Although everyone felt a little uncertain about leaving Yun Chuzhou, they could only scatter according to the group. Yun Chuzhou naturally followed Feng Ming's 10th group. The members of the 10th group instantly felt confident. Damn, they were really lucky to be in the same group as the class monitor. This way they would definitely not be eliminated. They did not feel that there was anything wrong with relying on a little girl from the 2nd level of the spirit sect. Although this Crimson Cloud Valley was only a part of the encirclement, it was still very big. In the beginning they could still meet other students, but soon the group dispersed. The deeper they went, the more demonic beasts they encountered. Every time a demonic beast came, Yun Chuzhou would hide to the side and then chew on the spirit fruit to watch the group fight. The people from the 10th group were about to cry. They originally thought that following the class monitor was a good thing, but now it seemed that it was useless. Other than asking them to cook for her and help her guard up, the class monitor only occasionally cheered for them. So it turned out that they were raising an ancestor. Chapter 1199. For the next few days, everything went smoothly. After the battle, the tacit understanding between everyone was getting better and better. Moreover, their confidence was also getting stronger and stronger. Everyone's harvest was also quite plentiful. On the 8th day, everyone arrived near a mountain stream. Junior sister Little 9, look. There's actually a piece of earth-grade high-grade beaded jade flower over there. These are all points. Everyone looked in the direction that Feng Ming was pointing at. Sure enough, there was a stretch of red in the distance. It really was a jade pearl flower. Everyone immediately cheered. Yun Chuzhou stopped everyone from rushing forward rashly. There must be a powerful companion beast next to such a spirit herb. Everyone be careful. Yun Chuzhou picked up a stone and threw it over. The scene that she saw caused everyone's back to feel a cold breeze. Fortunately, they didn't rush forward rashly. Otherwise, they would be dead for sure. They saw dozens of scarlet twin-tailed serpents jumping out from the jade flowers. The scarlet twin-tailed serpents were demonic beasts of the 19th level, and they were extremely poisonous. If they had rushed forward rashly just now, they would have been dead by now. Most of these people were at the 5th level of the spirit sect. Feng Ming and the other 2 were only at the 2nd level of the spirit sect, while the scarlet twin-tailed serpents were equivalent to human cultivators at the 7th level of the spirit sect. If both sides fought, the result would be obvious. Junior sister Little Jiao, let's retreat. These scarlet multicolored twin-tailed snakes are really hard to deal with, Feng Ming said in a low voice. Yun Chuzhou nodded. She herself wasn't afraid of poison, but the others weren't. If they were really bitten, their lives would be in danger. Thus, the group headed in another direction. They never imagined that they would actually be blocked by 20 masked men. Yun Chuzhou stays behind. The rest can leave. Otherwise, none of them will be left behind, the leader of the masked men said in a hoarse voice. Yun Chuzhou realized that she couldn't see through the other party's cultivation. This meant that the other party was at least at the 9th layer of the spirit sect, and they were probably all at the level of a spirit saint. The people from the 10th group immediately panicked. Wasn't Crimson Cloud Valley already blocked by the Academy's array formation? Why would a masked man come in and take the class monitor's life? Yun Chuzhou's heart stirred. These people were probably related to the Yin family. As the Academy's deputy Dean Yin, it wouldn't be a problem for him to tamper with the array formation. Moreover, the Yin family was most famous for its array formation. Cracking the Academy's protective array formation was a piece of cake. Feng Ming, bring them to another place to continue the trial. I'll send them off before coming to look for you, Yun Chuzhou said indifferently. Feng Ming was anxious. Junior sister Little Jiao, what are you talking about? How could we leave you behind? The people from the 10th group also said, Class monitor, we're not cowards. At worst, we'll just fight them. Yun Chuzhou waved her hand and said to Feng Ming, Senior brother Feng Ming, Think about what happened in the ancient mine. If you stay, you will only drag me down. You can go. Hearing Yun Chujia's words, Feng Ming's heart was moved. Yes, junior sister little Jiu had many secrets. If they were here, perhaps she would not be able to use her full strength. They might as well hurry back to the exit and ask Teacher Xiao and the others for help. Feng Ming thought of this and nodded. All right, junior sister little Jiu, you be careful. Let's go. Although the people from the 10th group didn't understand why Feng Ming had changed his mind, they could only follow Feng Ming and leave. After Feng Ming and the others had gone far away, Yun Chujiu said to the masked men, "You are from the Yin family, right? Deputy Dean Yin should have sent you here, right? Do you need to be so arrogant to deal with a second-level spirit sect disciple like me?" Chapter 1200 was not something that could be returned just because you wanted to. The leader of the masked men snorted coldly. Although we don't understand why we need so many of us to kill a little trash like you, it's still safe. Do you want to slit your own throat, or do you want us to do it? Yun Chujiu sighed. Is there no room for discussion? Do you have to kill me? Cut the crap, you have to die today. Go kill him. The leader of the masked men waved his hand, and one of the masked men raised his sword and stabbed at Yun Chujiu. Yun Chujiu dodged the attack from the other man. The man was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect this little trash to be so fast. He stabbed Yun Chujiu a few more times, and Yun Chujiu dodged it. She had a rough estimation in her heart. This man's spiritual power level was only around the 9th layer of the spirit sect. In that case, she would kill him first to vent her anger. When Yun Chujiu thought of this, she threw several small purple needles at the masked man. When the man saw that Yun Chujiu's spiritual power was actually a needle, he could not help but laugh out loud. Stinky girl, with your weak spiritual power attack, you still want to fight with me? You really overestimate yourself. The masked man wanted to humiliate Yun Chujiu, but he actually used his hand to pinch the small purple needles, wanting to pinch the needles in his hand. Needless to say, he actually really pinched a few small purple needles on his fingers. Stupid girl, I'll return it to you. Just as the masked man was about to throw the small purple needles back to Yun Chujiu, the small purple needles exploded. The masked man's entire arm was blown away, not to mention his hand. Yun Chujiu naturally would not let go of such an opportunity. She hit the man's head with a rolling pin, and the man died on the spot. Yun Chujiu pouted. Are you pretending? Why aren't you pretending? Return it to me? Are you going to return my things if you want to? The rest of the masked men were stunned. They didn't even see what was going on when their companion turned into a corpse. Wasn't this little girl only at the 2nd level of the spirit sect? How could she kill their people in such a short time? The leader of the masked men said viciously, "What a waste. She can't even defeat a waste at the 2nd level of the spirit sect. You go." As the leader of the masked men said that, a masked man directly attacked Yun Chujiu. His spiritual power materialized into an eagle formed by wind blades and fiercely pounced on Yun Chujiu. After Yun Chujiu dodged the attack, she said with some surprise, "Oh, is your spiritual power materialized into a little chick? It's really weak." That man was so angry that he almost died. My spiritual power is an eagle, what kind of bullshit little chick is it? The man once again launched his spiritual power attack. This time Yun Chujiu directly shot a few purple needles at the eagle. After Yun Chujiu shot the purple needles, she actually did not dodge but stood there foolishly. The man sneered contemptuously. This little girl was just lucky just now. Did she really think that she was so amazing? She actually wanted to fight head-on with his spiritual power attack? Just her small broken needles would not have any effect on his spiritual attack at all. Why was she still foolishly not dodging? She was just waiting to die. The man was very confident that his eagle could block Yun Chujiu's small purple needles, so he did not dodge. He stood there with a disdainful look on his face. At this moment a brilliant light flashed. The man thought that his eagle must have killed Yun Chujiu. Just as he was feeling extremely proud, several small needles shot into his head. Followed by a loud sound, the man's body fell to the ground. Chapter 1201 Escape. At this moment, the masked men were no longer careless. The first time was a coincidence. And the second time was a sign that the little girl was indeed a little strange. No wonder the higher-ups had sent so many of us to kill her. The leader of the masked men laughed sinisterly. Stinky girl, you do have some skills, but you still have to die today. Everyone attack together. Don't let this stinky girl escape. Yun Chujio was not stupid. She was just lucky that she could kill those two people just now. If she didn't run now, when would she do it? Yun Chujio was confident that although her spiritual power level was not as high as theirs, her running speed was still okay. However, she never expected that another group of masked men would appear in front of her. They were waiting for her with a cold smile. The masked men behind her also caught up. Stinky girl, why don't you run? Fortunately, the higher-ups have strategized and know that you are unusually cunning. Let's see where you will run to this time. The masked men on both sides gradually approached. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. There was only one path left now, and that was the direction of the pearl and jade flower. Although there were dozens of scarlet twin-tailed snakes there, I wasn't afraid of poison. At most I would be bitten by them a few times. Although these masked men could kill those snakes, they would also be stopped. At that time I would be able to find a place to hide. Thinking of this, Yun Chujio ran in the direction of the jade flower. The masked men on both sides merged into one and chased after her. From afar, they could see Yun Chujio rushing towards the jade flower. One of the masked men laughed and said, I'm afraid that stupid girl doesn't know that there is a nest of scarlet twin-tailed snakes in the jade flower. She is going to die, which saves us the trouble of fighting her. Everyone laughed in agreement. This little girl has been forced into a corner by us. She's actually seeking her own death. Yun Chujio heard the laughter behind her and sneered in her heart. HMPH laugh. Do you think that I'm stupid? You won't be able to laugh in a while. Just as Yun Chujio ran to the side of the jade flower bush, those scarlet twin-tailed snakes jumped out and pounced fiercely at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio held up her spiritual energy shield. Although she wouldn't be able to hold on for long, it was still good to be bitten less. Seeing this, the masked man thought in disdain, how strong does this little girl think her spiritual energy is? Her spiritual energy shield would be corroded by the poison in a short while. Sure enough, in less than 15 minutes, Yun Chujio's spiritual energy shield was corroded. Although she ran with all her might, she was still bitten by a few snakes, but she still rushed past the jade flowers. Boss, should we chase after her? That little girl was bitten by the crimson twin-tailed snake several times. She probably won't survive. Although the chances of her surviving aren't high, for the sake of safety, let's chase after her, said the masked leader. Upon hearing his words, everyone could only rush to the front and fight with the crimson twin-tailed snakes. In the end, a few people died. Some of the masked men felt that it was unnecessary. That little girl wouldn't be able to survive at all. Why chase after her? This time they even lost a few of their brothers. However, they did not find Yun Chujio's body after chasing her for a long time. Could it be that the little girl was not dead? The leader of the masked men frowned. Search. She can't have gone far. She must be nearby. If we don't kill her this time, the higher-ups will not let us off. The masked men thought of the viciousness of the higher-ups and immediately trembled. They tried their best to search, but they could not find Yun Chujio after searching for a long time. It was as if Yun Chujio had disappeared into thin air. Chapter 1202 The Big Coffin Boss. Even if this person is dead, there should still be a corpse. Why is it gone? We can't use a concealment talisman here. Where did she go? The masked leader was also puzzled. He had searched everywhere he could, but there was still no trace of that smelly girl. How could this person disappear into thin air? He suddenly looked at the bottom of the cliff. Could it be that the girl had died of poison and fell to the bottom of the cliff? He walked to the edge of the cliff and looked down, but he could not see anything in the clouds. He gritted his teeth. Let's split into two groups. Half of us will continue to search on the top, and the other half will follow me down from the other side to the bottom of the cliff. The girl must have died of poison and fell to the bottom of the cliff. Yun Chujio, who was lying on the cliff wall, heard the masked man who was leading the group and cursed in her heart. Fuck. How cunning. She had to think of something. Otherwise, when they reached the bottom and there was no cloud to hide them, they would discover her. Yun Chujo brought Xiaohei out and let it start to dig a hole on the cliff. When the hole was dug, Yun Chujo hid in it and blocked the hole with the gravel inside the hole. She even pulled a few vines as cover. She looked out through the small gap. The leader of the masked men took a detour to the bottom of the cliff but did not find Yun Chujia's body. He was even more suspicious. Where did this stinky girl go? He really looked at the cliff wall. Other than the vines and sparse herbs, there was no sign of Yun Chujio. Besides, it was forbidden to fly here, so the stinky girl could not be hanging on the cliff wall. The leader of the masked men searched for a while more before leaving in disappointment. Yun Chujio was not in a hurry to go out. Who knew if these people were hiding somewhere waiting for her to walk into their trap? She would stay in this cave. Feng Ming and the others would definitely send a letter to Deputy Dean Xiao and the others. She would only go out when they were in the vicinity. Only then would she be safe. In order to stay in the cave for a long time, Yun Chujio had Xiaohei expand the cave a little. Xiaohei dug the cave wide without complaint, and Yun Chujio stayed in the cave. Every day she would eat, sleep, and cultivate. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. This fellow was a little bored staying in the cave, so she decided to relax and took out a storybook from her storage ring. She sat on the innermost cliff and read the storybook. When she saw something interesting, she stomped her feet in excitement, and then she was miserable. The place where she stomped her feet actually collapsed and Yun Chujio fell straight down. Just as Yun Chujio was about to use the sticky silk to climb up, a white light flashed in front of her eyes, and she couldn't see anything. There was only one thought in this fellow's mind. How miserable! When Yun Chujio opened her eyes, she found herself in a cave. The cave was very spacious, but what made her hair stand on end was that there was a large coffin in the middle of the cave. It was pitch black. It looked very creepy. Of course, Yun Chujio didn't want to stay here any longer, but she found that she couldn't find the exit at all. She thought that there must be a formation here. Then she could only find the formation disc. However, where could the formation disc be? Yun Chujio searched the entire cave but could not find the formation disc. She then fixed her gaze on the large coffin. She was afraid that the formation disc was inside the coffin or under it. Although she did not want to touch this thing in order to get out, she could only do it. Chapter 1203. A group attack of remnant souls. Yun Chujio bowed towards the coffin. Senior, I'm really sorry. In order to get out, I could only disturb your body. If you want to take revenge, remember to take revenge on that old bastard Yin Haoyu. If he didn't send people to chase me, I wouldn't have dug a cave on the cliff. If I didn't dig a cave on the cliff, I wouldn't have fallen into this place. Naturally, I would not offend you. Therefore, the main culprit is that old bastard Yin Haoyu. Just as Yun Chujio was muttering to herself, an angry roar came from inside the coffin. Long-winded. Long-winded. You are really too long-winded. Even the dead are angered to death by you. Yun Chujio was so scared that she fell to the ground. Fuck, could it be that there was a living person inside the coffin? At this time, the lid of the coffin opened and a person floated out. Yun Chujio felt a little more at ease. This was a remnant soul, just like the people in the ancient sword tomb. Yun Chujio immediately said respectfully, Senior, this junior really had no choice but to move your coffin. Please forgive me. The remnant soul said angrily, fuck you. This senior was sleeping well and was woken up by you. How do you think you are going to compensate this senior? Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. This old fart, who is your father? However, this fellow only dared to curse in her heart. This remnant soul was so solid that its cultivation was probably not low. It was better for her to be careful. Senior, I really barged in by mistake. What compensation do you want? I have a lot of delicious food here. Do you want to eat? The remnant soul was even more furious. Stupid girl. Are you trying to anger me? You know I'm a remnant soul, how can I eat? I'm going to strangle you to death. As the remnant soul said that, it pounced towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was also angry. You old fool, can't we discuss this properly? Are you looking for a beating? I'm still afraid of you. It'll make you completely lose your appetite. The remnant soul was so angry that it was trembling. You little bastard, when I was alive no one dared to talk to me like that. I'm going to kill you today. Yun Chujio gave him a wicked smile. Old fart. You must have a treasure here to ensure that the remnant soul doesn't dissipate. Since that's the case, I'll let you see what a group fight is. Yun Chujo took out a few green jade porcelain bottles. Once the cork was removed, Fu Ao and the others floated out of the green jade porcelain bottles. Uncle, this old fart is bullying me. Beat him down, I want to see how he will show off. The remnant soul was scared silly. Fuck. What was going on? How could this little girl have so many remnant souls? Didn't they say that remnant souls could dissipate easily? His special soul body didn't dissipate. How did she do it? Just as the remnant soul was thinking, Fu Ao and the others pounced on it. Although their spiritual power had decreased greatly, there were too many of them. Soon, the remnant soul was beaten until it cried out in pain. Yun Chujo placed her hands on her waist and was very proud. Old fart, are you showing off? Why aren't you showing off this time? I spoke nicely to you and you still dare to scold me? You're really tired of living. Do you want to die and live? If you want to die, I'll let them directly disperse you. If you want to live, tell me your identity and background honestly. Also, what treasure did you use to protect your remnant soul? Although the old man's remnant soul wanted to continue scolding Yun Chujo, he looked at the countless remnant souls around him and became terrified. Old man, I think that person was also a famous figure back then. Who am I? Who am I? Why can't I remember? I mean something? The old man's remnant soul began to tremble violently. It was obvious that he had lost his memory. Chapter 12:04 Natal Puppet Yun Chujo put her hands on her waist and cursed, Old man, what are you pretending for? Are you playing amnesia for me? Uncle, beat him up. Fu Ao smiled bitterly and said, Little girl, he is not pretending. Some remnant souls will slowly lose their memories after a long time. Judging from the clothes that this person conjured, he should be from the same era as us. Tens of thousands of years have passed. It is inevitable that his memory will be lost. From the same era as you? Uncle? Then do you know him? Is there anyone surnamed Een in your era? Yun Chujo asked curiously. Fu Ao shook his head. No, but there was indeed a big family surnamed Een in our era. However, the Een family is very mysterious. It is said that the Een family is proficient in the art of puppets, but they have always been indifferent to fame and fortune. If they entered the human world, they would definitely become famous. Puppets? Oh right, puppets. Where are my puppets? Where are my puppets? Who has seen my puppets? The old man's remnant soul began to shout. Fu Ao sighed. It seems that this person is really a member of the Een family. I just don't know why he would appear here. Yun Chujo saw that the old man's remnant soul was crazy and could not ask anything. She simply looked into the coffin. There was no corpse in the coffin, only a small person made of an unknown material and a black thing. Yun Chujo felt that the black thing looked familiar, so she picked it up and looked at it. She could not help but laugh. Wasn't this a fragment of the Great Void Mirror? Could it be that this fragment of the Great Void Mirror had the effect of ensuring that the soul would not disperse? Uncle, can this fragment of the Great Void Mirror ensure that your soul will not disperse? Yun Chujo asked Fu Ao curiously. Fu Ao shook his head. Although the Great Void Mirror is a divine artifact, I've never heard of it having such an effect. I'm afraid that his remnant soul is related to this little person. If my guess is correct, this should be a life puppet. Life puppet? Yun Chujo felt like she was listening to a heavenly book. So what if it was a puppet? Why was there a life puppet? Life-bound puppet is a secret technique of the Een family. I've only heard of it. Legend has it that after every member of the Een family is born, the elders of the family will use their umbilical cord blood to refine a puppet. Such a puppet is a life-bound puppet. The function of the life-bound puppet is unknown, but the reason why his soul doesn't disperse is probably due to the life-bound puppet, said Fu Ao. Yun Chujo felt that this was too amazing. How could such a small dummy ensure that the soul would not disperse? She did not dare to rashly take the small dummy, but looked at the old man's remnant soul. The old man's remnant soul had already calmed down slightly. He glared at Yun Chujo fiercely. What exactly do you want? Old man, look at what you're saying. It's like I'm a bully who robs people of their women. You wanted to kill me, so I had no choice but to resist, okay? You scared me so much. Don't you have to compensate me with something good? Yoon Chujo said as she shamelessly put the broken piece of the Great Void Mirror into her storage ring. Didn't you already take the broken piece of the Great Void Mirror? I can't afford to offend you. I admit defeat. I'll send you out and pretend that we've never met before. The old man's remnant soul said angrily. That's easy for you to say. You sent me away with just a fragment? I think that little person is quite exquisite. Why don't you give it to my spiritual pet as a toy? The old man's remnant soul was so angry that it was twitching. I'll fight you to the death. Chapter 1205. I am a kind-hearted person. Yoon Chujo looked baffled. You old man, you are so unreasonable. Isn't it just a little dummy? Do you have to fight with me like this? And you even said that you are from the Een family. You are just a little stingy. You know the answer. If it weren't for my natal puppet, I would have lost my soul. The old man's remnant soul said angrily. So that's how it is. I thought Uncle Fueo was playing with me. In that case, I don't need that little dummy. Then I'll take this coffin away. Anyway, it doesn't matter where you sleep as a remnant soul. I think this coffin is not bad. When I go out to practice in the future, I can use it as a bed. Yoon Chujo said with a smile. The corners of Fueo and the other's eyes twitched violently. This little girl's interests were indeed different from ordinary people. If you sleep in a coffin, won't you panic? When the remnant soul of the old man heard that Yoon Chujo was going to take the coffin away, it became even angrier. Don't even think about it. This coffin is my shelter. You're not allowed to take it away. I'm afraid it's not just a shelter, right? There must be a big secret inside. Besides, do you think you have the right to ask me not to take it away? As long as I kill you, all these things are mine. Yoon Chujo said very arrogantly. Damn, the feeling of bullying others with power was really great. It was a pity that these remnant souls could not be used outside. Otherwise, I would have tortured those masked men to death long ago. There was no need to hide here and there. The old man's remnant soul kept struggling. However, he was now restrained by many remnant souls. There was no way for him to escape. He gritted his teeth and said, I can teach you the secret art of puppets. Don't touch my things. Yoon Chujo was secretly happy. Very well, she had been waiting for this sentence. This guy sighed and said, Old man, I am a very kind person. When Fueo and the others heard this sentence, they almost vomited. You can forget it. How many people and beasts did you abduct with this sentence? No, you even abducted thousands of our remnant souls. You are kind? You are simply a little pervert with a black heart. Yoon Chujo continued. Although you can't remember what happened in the past, you hid here alone. I'm afraid that you had a story in the past as well, maybe even a deep hatred or something. But can you take revenge by hiding here? Forget about revenge. I'm afraid that it won't be long before you don't remember anything. You also saw that I have a lot of remnant souls around me. Why are they following me? Because I have an ancient green jade porcelain bottle, and I am not afraid of being struck by lightning. Most importantly, I will definitely find the Great Void Soul Patching Formation in their bodies. Why don't you follow me? It is better than waiting here for death. The old man's remnant soul was stunned when he heard this. He did not expect Yoon Chujo to make such a request. Although his mind was clear now, the frequency of his madness was increasing. However, he could not rely on his natal puppet to protect his remnant soul. Why don't follow her? Those remnant souls looked like they were from the ancient times. When they were alive, they were probably heroes of their generation. For them to choose this little girl, it meant that this little girl must be extraordinary. Perhaps he had waited for tens of thousands of years just to wait for her? Just as the old man's remnant soul was hesitating, he heard Yoon Chujo say, Forget it. It's not sweet to twist the melon. Since you don't want it, I don't want your puppet technique either. You can send me out. Chapter 1206. Dolly Xiao Rat. When the old man heard Yoon Chujo's words, he hurriedly said, I'm willing to follow you out. Yoon Chujo secretly pursed her lips. It was really easy to coax. Were all the ancient people so simple? Senior, if that's the case, then should I put you into the spirit beast bag? Or into the ancient green jade bottle? If I put you into the ancient green jade bottle, what about the coffin and the little dummy? Besides, how are we going to get out? The old man's remnant soul thought for a moment and said, since I've decided to follow you, I naturally trust you. Keep the coffin and my natal puppet for me. Just put them into the spirit beast pouch. Put me into the green jade bottle as well. It's best if I'm with them. That way I won't be lonely. After you keep the coffin, the array here will be destroyed, and we will naturally be transported out. Yun Chujio was stunned. She did not expect the old man's remnant soul to trust her so much. It seemed that the people of the ancient times were much more honest than the people of today. Yun Chujio did not stand on ceremony. She put the old man's remnant soul into the green jade bottle, and then put the coffin and the little dummy into the spiritual beast bag. Sure enough, just as she put away the coffin, she felt a white light flash. When she opened her eyes again, she was already in a valley. Yun Chujio looked around. She did not know if this place was still in the Crimson Cloud Valley, but there were some crimson cloud grass. When Yun Chujio was looking around, she heard someone scream, "The stinky girl is there. She's really not dead." Yun Chujio turned her head and saw 4 masked men rushing over. Yun Chujio estimated that she should be able to kill them with all her strength. Since that was the case, killing one would result in a loss. Thinking of this, not only did Yun Chujio not run away, but she also rushed towards the 4 people. Her hands kept waving, and the small purple needle shot towards the faces of the 4 people. The 4 people had already seen the evil power of Yun Chujio's small purple needle, so they quickly dodged and also launched a spiritual power attack on Yun Chujio at the same time. The spiritual power of the 4 people materialized into animals, wolves, leopards, eagles, and cranes. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. Their spiritual power materialized was very suitable for them. They were animals. Stupid girl, I advise you to stop resisting stubbornly. You are no match for the 4 of us. One of them said arrogantly. Yun Chujio did not say anything. She brought out the 3-tailed flaming fox king and Xiaohei. You haven't exercised your limbs for a long time. Attack. The 4 of them looked at the spiritual beast that Yun Chujio released with even more disdain. What could a red flame 2-tailed fox and a tailless earth-drilling mouse do? As expected, Trash's spiritual pet was Trash as well. After the 3-tailed fox king followed Yun Chujio, it learned to act like a pig to eat a tiger. Therefore, it usually pretended to be a red flame 2-tailed fox. The first thing the 3-tailed fox king did when it came out was to roar. Those people were unprepared, and their spiritual senses were slightly dazed. Yun Chujio took this opportunity to wave her hands continuously. Several small purple needles stabbed at the 4 people's heads. Although 2 people reacted quickly and dodged, the other 2 people were stabbed directly. Following the explosion of the small purple needles, their heads were blasted into a bloody mess. Although they did not die, after being slapped away by Xiaohei, they fell hundreds of feet away and died. The remaining 2 people were stunned when they saw that Xiaohei could actually slap 2 people hundreds of feet away. Chapter 1207 Kill This little mouse was definitely not an ordinary groundhog. The 2 of them had a greedy look in their eyes. Perhaps this spiritual beast had signed an equal contract. As long as they killed Yun Chujio, it would be theirs. The 2 of them attacked Yun Chujio again. This time they were on guard. The roar of the 3-tailed fox king of Lai Yan had little effect on them, however. The fireball of the 3-tailed fox king of Lai Yan could still help Yun Chujio share some of the burden. Not to mention there was also Xiaohei, who appeared and disappeared underground. One of them was fighting with Yun Chujio when one of his feet suddenly sank into the ground. Then there was a sharp pain. That person finally managed to pull his foot out, but the 3-tailed fox king of Lai Yan threw a fireball at him. That person had no choice but to put out the fire in a sorry state, and Xiaohei's rat claws arrived. The situation immediately became that Yun Chujio was dealing with a masked man, and Xiaohei and the 3-tailed fox king of Lai Yan were dealing with another masked man. In this way, Yun Chujio immediately felt a lot more relaxed. Although the spiritual power of the masked man was 2 or 3 levels higher than hers, Yun Chujio's purple needles appeared and disappeared mysteriously. That person was soon defeated and killed by Yun Chujio. The remaining masked man was also tormented by Xiao He and Lai Yan. Yun Chujio freed her hands and killed him in a few rounds. Yun Chujio rummaged through the 4 bodies and indeed found the Yin family's token. She sneered, put away the 4 bodies and continued to walk forward. After walking for more than 10 miles, she met 4 masked men again. They must have split up into 4 groups to search for Yun Chujio's whereabouts. Yun Chujio used the same trick again and killed the 4 men. At this time the sky was getting dark. Yun Chujio found a cave, so she decided to spend the night here. Yun Chujio was afraid of being discovered by the masked men, so she took off the spirit-concealing ring. She did not light a fire and carefully hid her aura. Yun Chujio had a simple dinner and lay on the ground to rest. At this moment the ground trembled slightly. Yun Chujio was shocked. Someone must have come. It was too late for Yun Chujio to go out. Fortunately, there was a protruding rock in the cave, and Yun Chujio hid behind the rock. Yun Chujio poked her head out and saw that there were still 4 people who came in. The 4 of them took off their facial scarves, lit a bonfire, took out some food and wine and chatted as they ate. Damn it! I don't know where that stinky girl went. I've been looking for her for a few days, but I've never seen her dead or body. What bad luck. Yeah, the boss still insisted on us looking for her. Where can we find her? Maybe she was swallowed by some demon beast, so she didn't even leave her body behind. Yun Chujio's heart stirred. She took out the recording stone and continued to listen. Brother Ma, actually I still don't understand. It's just a smelly girl. Is there a need for us, the elites of the Yin family, to deal with her? I heard that that little girl has caused quite a lot of trouble for 4th elder. There's also the eldest miss, 2nd miss, and eldest young master who have all suffered at the hands of that smelly girl. Really fake. Isn't 4th elder at the level of a spirit paragon? How could he be played around by a little girl at the 2nd level of the spirit sect? That little girl probably has a lot of tricks up her sleeve, and I heard that she's the daughter of the palace master's wife. Naturally, she has something to rely on. According to what you said, if we kill that smelly girl, won't the Palace of Longevity cause trouble for our Yin clan? TCH. What could a daughter of an old friend do to our Yin clan? Although the Palace of Longevity had a special status, our Yin clan didn't give it away for free. Besides, they wouldn't be able to catch any evidence. Didn't the boss say that those people would send a letter back and forth? By the time they arrived, it would be at least 3 days later. By then we would have already left. Who would they look for? Ah, that's true. That little girl is quite good looking. If she's not dead, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get her to play with. Chapter 1208 continued to kill. Yun Chujio was so angry that she gritted her teeth. I'll let you show off, I'll send you on your way in a while. Yun Chujio found a bottle of pills in her storage ring. It was the sleeping powder that she used to deal with the Crane group. When the 4 of them were almost done drinking, Yun Chujio carefully blew the sleeping powder in their direction. Normally, these people would have noticed, but the 4 of them had drunk quite a lot of wine. 3 of them fell to the ground and were fast asleep. The person in charge of guarding the cave was also dozing off. It was not until the cave was filled with the smell of sleeping powder that the person in charge of guarding the cave took a sniff. What was that smell? Not good. Sleeping powder. The person suddenly woke up and quickly kicked the 3 people on the ground. Then he attacked the place where Yun Chujio was hiding with his spiritual power. After Yun Chujio dodged, she shot several small purple needles at the person. At the same time, Yun Chujio released the Xiao He rat, Lai Yan, and the 3-tailed fox king, and started to fight with the masked man. Although the 3 people on the ground also woke up, their combat strength was greatly reduced. Both sides were evenly matched. Yun Chujio was afraid that the longer the night, the more trouble it would bring. She directly summoned 8 immortal swords and stabbed at the masked man. The 4 masked men were simply scared silly. How could one person's spiritual sense command 8 flying swords at the same time? This little girl was really too strange. At this time the 3-tailed fox king of Lai Yan also roared. The 4 of them were slightly distracted, and 2 of them were injured by Yun Chujio's flying swords. 15 minutes later, the 4 of them fell to the ground and died. Yun Chujio was also so tired that she was panting. I'm still too weak. It's so difficult to deal with 4 little dregs. Yoon Chujio had just put away the 4 bodies when footsteps came from afar again. Yoon Chujio could only hide behind the big rock again. Why is there the smell of blood? Could it be that something happened to Ma Ping and the others? Following the voice, another 4 people walked into the cave. Although Yoon Chujio tried her best to hide her aura, she was too tired just now. Her breathing was inevitably heavy, and she was immediately discovered. The 4 people who came in exchanged glances with each other, and they launched a spiritual attack at the place where Yoon Chujio was hiding. Yoon Chujio had no choice but to activate the defensive spiritual tool on her body. This fellow was very stingy. The defensive spiritual tool on her body was simply more than the Tianyuan Academy's treasure vault, but this fellow just couldn't bear to. Now she had no choice but to activate it. Yoon Chujio gritted her teeth. Damn it, it was you who forced me. Today, I will use the defensive spirit tool to smash you all to death. Thinking of this, Yoon Chujio directly walked out from behind the rock. She did not dodge the spiritual attacks of the 4 people at all. Instead, she aimed several small purple needles at one of them. After that person dodged Yoon Chujio's attack, he sneered again and again. Stinky girl, you are indeed not dead. However, even if you have a defensive spirit tool, it is useless. It won't be long before the defensive spirit tool will shatter. Yoon Chujio bared her teeth and smiled. Then let's see whether you guys can hold on for long or my defensive spirit tool can hold on for long. Die. The 4 men in black tragically discovered that the defensive barrier on Yoon Chujio's body shattered layer after layer. But there was always a new defensive barrier being formed. Just how many defensive spirit tools did this guy have on him? Yoon Chujio was not afraid of attacks, but they were. In particular, Yoon Chujio did not defend at all. She attacked relentlessly and soon some people could not hold on anymore. After Yoon Chujio killed one, she became even more confident. Sure enough, money was a good thing. In the future, she would need to get more defensive spirit tools. This thing was really good. Chapter 1209. Octopus fishing. After a while, another black-clothed person was killed by Yoon Chujio. The other 2 black-clothed people had the intention to retreat when they saw this. There were too many defensive spirit tools on this stinky girl. They had no way to hurt her at all. They might even lose their lives. It was better to leave. They thought, well, but how could Yoon Chujio let them escape? This guy blocked the entrance of the cave and didn't give them any chance to escape. When they felt that it was about time, they released Xiaohei Lai Yen and the 3-tailed Fox King. She also summoned 8 immortal swords and started to fight with the 2 men in black. 15 minutes later, the 2 men in black also fell to the ground and died. Yoon Chujio was so tired that she collapsed on the ground. She counted with her fingers that she had killed a total of 16 men in black. She had almost killed half of them. Yoon Chujio's eyes deepened. If they dared to provoke her, she would kill them one by one. The next day, Yoon Chujio changed into the same outfit as the men in black. Then she wandered around outside. She called it fishing. Sure enough, it was very effective. The next day she killed 3 more groups of people. After calculating, there should only be 4 people left. One of them was the masked leader. On the 3rd day, Yoon Chujio met the remaining 4 men in black as she wished. After the leader of the masked men saw the clothes on Yoon Chujio's body, he asked coldly, "You killed our men?" Yoon Chujio pointed at the clothes on her body. "That's right. Where do you think I got these clothes from? To tell you the truth, your men are already waiting for you underground. Hurry up and go. Otherwise, they will be easily bullied without a leader, right?" The leader of the masked men was shocked, but he felt that Yoon Chujio must be exaggerating. Perhaps she had killed 1 or 2 people, but she, a 2nd-level spirit sect cultivator, had killed nearly 30 of his men? This was simply impossible. Stupid girl, cut the crap and die. The leader of the masked men waved his hand, and the other 3 men in black swarmed forward. The spiritual power of these 4 men was obviously higher than the previous ones, especially the leader of the masked men. Yoon Chujio found it very difficult to deal with him. However, Yoon Chujio still had a trump card that was useless. Therefore, when the leader of the masked men in black was fighting fiercely, he suddenly staggered and Yoon Chujio's purple needle arrived. Damn it, I can even kill a level 26 demonic beast. How can I not kill you? The purple needle was shot into the head of the masked leader. After the explosion, the masked leader was dead. The other 3 people saw that the masked leader was killed so quickly and they were flustered. Yun Chuzhou summoned 8 immortal swords again and with the help of Xiao He, Lai Yan, and the 3-tailed fox king. The 3 of them finally fell to the ground and died. Yun Chuzhou put away the 4 corpses and then laughed out loud. Humph! You want to kill me? This is what you get for trying to kill me. In how you old bastard, just you wait. I will kill you sooner or later. Yun Chuzhou knew that the exit was in the south, so she kept walking towards the south. However, this fellow thought of a crucial problem. This was the mid-year competition. If senior brother Fengming and the others went out to deliver the letter, perhaps their results would be affected. She couldn't just go out like this. She had to get some spirit herbs and demon cores. When the time came, she could distribute them to everyone. Yun Chuzhou thought of this and began to pick herbs and hunt. However, this fellow felt that it was too slow, so she said, "Go Weiba, help me lure some demon beasts over. Not too many, just a dozen at a time." Chapter 12:10 was an unexpected result. Guai Chao was feeling guilty right now, so he naturally did not dare to disagree. He eagerly followed Yun Chuzhou's instructions and attracted more than 10 demon beasts at a time. Yun Chuzhou, on the other hand, had set up a trap. When the demon beasts arrived, she first called out to Lai Yan, the 3-tailed fox king, and when the demon beasts were distracted, Yun Chuzhou's purple needles also arrived. Those demon beasts were in big trouble. There was no coming back. One batch after another died. After killing a few hundred demonic beasts, Yun Chuzhou felt that it was enough. She couldn't kill all of them. Otherwise, the ecological balance would be destroyed. Then, this fellow began to pick up scraps in the surroundings. The demonic beasts that she killed basically all had territories, and there were spirit herbs in their territories. Sure enough, she picked up quite a few spirit herbs in the surroundings and felt that it was enough. Only then did she continue to head south. Halfway there, she met Deputy Dean Xiao and the others. When Fengming and the others saw that Yun Chuzhou was safe and sound, they were extremely excited. One after another, they came over to ask her how she had escaped. Yun Chuzhou made up a lie, saying that she had fallen down the cliff. Unexpectedly, she had accidentally hidden herself in the cave. After coming out, she did not see those black-clothed people. Those black-clothed people were probably afraid of being discovered, therefore they all left. Deputy Dean Xiao knew that there were many people, so he did not ask in detail. He sent a few instructors to the edge to check the situation of the array formation. Then he said, "Yun Chuzhou, the day after tomorrow is the day after the end of the mid-year grand competition. The few of you have been affected by the sudden incident. I will explain the situation to the academy. I will not eliminate you." Although Yun Chuzhou had already gotten quite a lot of things from her storage ring, she did not say anything. After thanking him, she followed him out. When everyone was about to reach the entrance of the Crimson Cloud Valley, the students from the Huang class were waiting there obediently. This was because when Yun Chuzhou entered the valley, she had told them to gather here before going out. "Deputy Dean Xiao, I will talk to them. I will go out later." Deputy Dean Xiao nodded. "The time for the trial is almost up. Don't delay too much or their results will be invalid." Yun Chuzhou obediently agreed, and then jumped to the middle of the Huang class students. An hour later, all the students of Tianyuan Academy left Crimson Cloud Valley and gathered at the entrance of the valley. Yin Sulian saw that Yun Chuzhou had come out unscathed, and she couldn't help but hate in her heart. This bitch was really lucky. Those secret guards were really trash. They actually didn't manage to kill this bitch. However, Yun Chuzhou and those 20 over Huang class students were definitely going to be eliminated. HMPH, as long as you were kicked out of Tianyuan Academy, it would be easy for them to kill you. There were already teachers who had started to tally the results. After the results were out, there was actually not a single Huang class student who was ranked in the bottom 50. More than half of the students from the Earth class and the Shen class, and more than a dozen from the Heaven class. The crowd immediately exploded. How is that possible? The yellow class has the weakest spiritual power. How can they not be on the list of eliminated students? Some of them haven't even learned how to materialize their spiritual power. How can they be better than us? Exactly. Is the statistics wrong? The teachers who were in charge of the statistics were instantly enraged. This is outrageous. We've been responsible for the statistics for decades. How can we still be wrong? If anyone is unconvinced, they can personally recount it. Those students who were eliminated naturally wouldn't let go of this chance to turn the tables. They immediately expressed that they wanted to select a few students from the Huang class. The teachers responsible for the statistics laughed coldly. Go ahead. If there are any mistakes, well, take the initiative to leave. Chapter 12:11. The results of Yun Chuzhou and the others. Those students had drawn a few students from the yellow class and calculated it once, but it turned out to be exactly the same. They were unwilling to accept it, so they had drawn a few more students from the yellow class, but the results were still the same. Their faces flushed red, and they didn't say anything. Yin Sulian rolled her eyes and snorted coldly at the side. Actually, Yun Chuzhou and the other 25 people should be ranked last. They must not have gotten much. Deputy Dean Xiao said with a sullen face. Yun Chuzhou was attacked in Scarlet Cloud Valley. Feng Ming and the others came out to report for the safety of their classmates, so they naturally have to give rewards. Therefore, their results are not included. Most of the people heard Deputy Dean Xiao's words and expressed their understanding. After all, the situation was special, but those students who were about to be eliminated would not do it. If Yun Chuzhou and the others' results were included, they might not have to be eliminated. Therefore, someone said, who knows if what they said is true? Maybe they made it up so that they wouldn't be eliminated. That's right. Other than these people, no one else has seen any black-clothed people. Who knows what's going on? Feng Ming and the other two are only at the second level of the spirit sect. If they were to participate in the grand competition normally, they would definitely be eliminated. That's why they came up with this idea. It's really too cunning. Deputy Dean Xiao frowned. Not only were these students weak in spiritual power, but their character was also extremely bad. Yin Sulian stood at the side. She gloated and said, Yun Chuzhou, some things will be discovered as soon as they are done. Your little tricks aren't always useful. You don't have to be eliminated, but those students will suffer. How despicable. Yin Sulian's lackeys also joined in the commotion, and the scene immediately became chaotic. Yun Chuzhou suddenly laughed, and her clear laughter stunned everyone. Was this Yun Chuzhou crazy? Deputy Dean Xiao, don't make things difficult for us. Although we don't want to lie, we are willing to participate in the result statistics to shut some people up. Yun Chuzhou said indifferently. Deputy Dean Xiao frowned. Aren't you looking for trouble yourself? How many things can you get if you keep evading the pursuit? Not to mention that the things Feng Ming and the others found were even more limited in order to report the news. Mo Hanshuan, the teacher in charge of the Heaven class, said, Deputy Dean Xiao, since Yun Chuzhou has taken the initiative to participate in the result statistics, let them participate. After all, it's more fair to the other students. The teachers in charge of the other two classes, Ji Bingyu and Chang Yuenda, also echoed, yes, since they have agreed, let's do the statistics. They naturally had their own plans. Never in their wildest dreams did they expect that there wasn't a single person in the bottom 50 in the Huang class. This was simply a slap to their faces. They had actually been suppressed by the Huang class. It was simply a great humiliation. How could they have known that after Yun Chuzhou estimated everyone's results, she had secretly given the Huang class many things? That was why the Huang class results were so good. Ji Sha had originally wanted to persuade Yun Chuzhou, but when he saw Yun Chuzhou's crafty eyes, he knew that he did not need to say anything else. This little girl must have made preparations. Deputy Dean Xiao couldn't say anything else at this time, so he could only get people to count the results of Yun Chuzhou and the others. Yin Sulian was very proud at the side. Yun Chuzhou, I didn't expect you to boast that you're smart, but in fact you're a fool. You actually agreed to participate in the results statistics? You're really stupid to the core. Not only you, Feng Ming and the others will also be eliminated. When that time comes, they will definitely resent you. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have been eliminated. Just wait for everyone to turn their backs on you. Chapter 12:12 had something good for him a moment later. The teachers who were in charge of the results exclaimed. Everyone looked at them in confusion. The teachers did not say anything. They only showed the results of Yoon Chujio and the other 25 people. Then everyone was stunned. Well, the points of these 25 people were more than the points of 250 people. How could this be possible? Mo Hanchuan and the other two were still petty enough to personally check it out. As expected, these demonic cores and spiritual herbs were all freshly picked within half a month. This meant that Yoon Chujio and the others did not cheat. Yoon Chujio sighed. Actually, I'm the kindest person. I feel that our team wasted a lot of time and even obtained so many spoils of war. It's really too depressing, so I agreed to Deputy Dean Xiao's suggestion. I didn't expect that you guys would take the initiative to request to be slapped in the face. Then we can only be impolite. Although everyone was fuming with anger, the truth was there. Not only were Yoon Chujio and the others not ranked in the bottom 50, but they had also jumped into the top 25. This time, not only did they not have to be expelled, but they also received contribution points as rewards. Half a day later, the few teachers who had gone to check on the formation returned. As expected, they found traces of people entering at the edge of the formation. This also proved that Yoon Chujio and the others were not lying. The faces of those who had been gossiping earlier suddenly flushed red. They felt like their faces were on fire. They wished they could find a hole to hide in. Deputy Dean Xiao saw that everyone was already here, so he gave the order to set off and return to Tianyuan Academy. There were some who were happy and some who were sad on the flying spirit tool. The students who had successfully passed the exam were naturally very happy, but the 50 students who were about to be eliminated were dejected and very depressed. One could imagine how grateful the students of the Huang class were towards Yoon Chujio. If it weren't for the demon cores and spirit herbs that Yoon Chujio had secretly given them, they would very likely be the ones who would be eliminated. 5 days later at noon, the flying spirit tool arrived at Tianyuan Academy. As soon as everyone got off the flying spirit tool, Yoon Chujio said with a smile, "Students, if you have nothing else to do, just follow me and watch the show. I guarantee it will be a good show." Everyone was confused. What was Yoon Chujio trying to do? After all, the mid-year competition was over, so it was easy for them to follow her. Yoon Chujio said to the Huang class students, "Help me create some atmosphere and attract more people. This is going to be a great show." The Huang class students wanted to repay Yoon Chujio, but now was their chance. They were all on steroids and they were just short of beating drums to announce it to the world. Soon many people gathered behind Yoon Chujio. Even Deputy Dean Xiao and the others were curious. What was Yoon Chujio up to? The crowd followed Yoon Chujio to a courtyard. Everyone saw that it was Deputy Dean In's courtyard. What was Yoon Chujio doing here? Could it be related to Deputy Dean In? Deputy Dean In's courtyard was also guarded by guards. Yoon Chujio smiled at him. "Brother guard, please pass the message that I have something good to give to Deputy Dean In. Ask him to come out and receive it." In Sulian squeezed through the crowd and said, "Yoon Chujio, why are you looking for my fourth grandfather? He must be up to no good." "In Sulian, you have wronged me. I am here to give something good to Deputy Dean In. You will see it in a while. Don't be anxious." I want to see what tricks you have up your sleeve. Be careful, or you will be in big trouble." In Sulian sneered. Yoon Chujio smiled meaningfully. "In Sulian, I think you better stay out of my way. Otherwise, the things that will happen next will cast a shadow over your life." Chapter 12:13. The property of the In family is returned to you. Humph. Nonsense. You are deliberately mystifying. In Sulian curled her lips in disdain. At this moment, the gate of the courtyard opened and Deputy Dean In walked out. "Yoon Chujio, why are you looking for me? Doesn't your Huang class have a teacher in charge? Why are you looking for me?" Deputy Dean In's eyes were filled with disgust. This wretched girl was really lucky. She actually didn't die. That group of trash, more than 30 people actually didn't manage to kill Yoon Chujio? She was really stupid to death. Moreover, she didn't even know to send a message back before she killed Yoon Chujio. She really deserved to die. Deputy Dean, I obtained some good stuff during the Scarlet Cloud Valley trial. I realized that it belongs to your Een family, so I plan to return it to you. Yoon Chujio said with a smile. Before Deputy Dean could say anything, Een Sulian raised her voice. Yoon Chujio, you shameless thief. You actually stole something from our Een family. Hand it over now. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson. Yoon Chujio looked at Een Sulian with amusement. Een Sulian, your brain is a good thing, but you didn't grow up. Didn't you hear me? I picked it up in the Crimson Cloud Valley, and am here to return it, right? What's the rush? Een Sulian was rendered speechless by Yoon Chujio's rebuke, so she had no choice but to act tough on the inside. If you want to return it, then hurry up. What are you waiting for? Are you trying to refuse to return it? Of course I have to return it. I don't dare to take anything from your Een family. Everyone move aside. This thing takes up a lot of space. The corners of Yoon Chujio's lips curled up, and her eyes flashed with a cold light. Everyone was puzzled. What exactly did Yoon Chujio want to return to Deputy Dean? Found it in the Crimson Cloud Valley? How could there be anything belonging to the Een family in the Crimson Cloud Valley? Deputy Dean was also very puzzled. However, he didn't think that Yoon Chujio was that kind-hearted. He had an inexplicable ominous feeling in his heart. Deputy Dean, look carefully. I have returned it intact. After Yoon Chujio finished speaking, the corpse of a man in black appeared on the ground. Everyone immediately exploded. Oh my god. Wasn't Yoon Chujio attacked by masked men at Crimson Cloud Valley? Could this person be? I think so. Oh my god, it's someone from the Een family. TSK. Yoon Chujio has offended the Een family many times. The Een family is not to be trifled with. This Yoon Chujio is really intrepid. Not only did she kill him, she even gave him to Deputy Dean. This is a blatant slap in the face. Deputy Dean's expression was gloomy as he looked at the black-clothed man on the ground. Yoon Chujio, what do you mean by this? What does this person have to do with me? The corners of Yoon Chujio's mouth curled up. Nothing to do with you? What about this? Another corpse of a man in black was thrown on the ground. Before Deputy Dean could say anything, Yoon Chujio continued, this? And these? Following Yoon Chujio's words, one corpse after another appeared in front of Deputy Dean. There were more than 30 corpses of men in black. Everyone was shocked. Damn! These were the Een family's secret guards? It seemed that the Een family really hated Yoon Chujio to death. They actually sent so many people to kill Yoon Chujio. However, how did Yoon Chujio kill all these people? Wasn't she only at the second layer of the spirit sect? Deputy Dean was also shocked and took a step back. It was impossible. How could Yoon Chujio kill all these secret guards? Their spiritual power was much higher than Yoon Chujio's, and there were many of them. How could they all be killed by Yoon Chujio? At this moment, Yoon Chujio threw a bunch of tokens on the ground. Deputy Dean, these are the identity jade tokens on their bodies. Don't tell me you don't recognize the Een family's jade tokens. Alright, there's another good thing. Listen up, everyone. Chapter 12:14 was too fucking intrepid. Yoon Chujio took out the recording stone, and from it came the voices of a few people. Ding! What can a daughter of an old friend do to our Een clan? Although the Temple of Immortals has a special status, our Een clan didn't give it away for nothing. Besides, they can't catch any evidence. The crowd was even more enlightened. 10,000% of these black-clothed people were sent by the Een clan to kill Yoon Chujio. It was just that they didn't know what method Yoon Chujio used to actually kill all of them. This was going to be a good show. Yoon Chujio sneered. The Een clan is truly astonishingly powerful. They don't even put the Hall of Immortals in their eyes. Moreover, they openly entered the Tianyuan Academy's trial zone to kill students. Deputy Dean, you really have the power to cover the skies. Are you trying to say that my recording stone is a forgery? Are you trying to deny the relationship between these people and the Een clan? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not doing this today to check with you, but to tell you that it won't be that easy to kill me. Moreover, I'll kill anyone who comes and I'll kill anyone who comes. If the Een family dares to provoke me again, I'll destroy your Een family. After saying that, Yoon Chujo didn't care about Deputy Dean Een's reaction and directly left. Everyone looked at the corpse on the ground, then looked at the ashen-faced Deputy Dean Een, then looked at Yoon Chujio's retreating figure. There were only 2 words in their hearts. Intrepid. Too fucking intrepid. Everyone even felt that Yoon Chujio's retreating figure had instantly become radiant. Putting everything else aside, just this domineering aura alone was enough to instantly kill Deputy Dean Een. Although it was a bit unrealistic for her to say that she had wiped out the Een clan, this aura was truly shocking. Moreover, the most important thing was that she had single-handedly killed over 30 Een clan's hidden guards. This was truly a ruthless slap to the Een clan's face. Of course, there were also people who felt that there was something fishy about this. Perhaps someone had secretly helped Yoon Chujio to wipe out the Een clan's secret guards. It was very likely that it was the Temple of Immortal secret guards. After all, the palace mistress seemed to quite like Yoon Chujio. Alright, these people had been completely deceived by Yoon Chujio's facade. Most people believed that the palace mistress liked Yoon Chujio very much. Only those who had been in the guest hall before knew how much the palace mistress disliked Yoon Chujio. Deputy Dean Xiao had been watching from behind the crowd the whole time. He gave Deputy Dean Jiang a look and the 2 of them turned around to leave. I didn't expect that Een Haoyu would actually do such a despicable thing. He's really petty and vengeful. Deputy Dean Jiang was extremely angry. As the academy's deputy dean, he actually sent people to kill students. It was simply shameless to the extreme. He has nothing to fear. Although we can prove that those people are from the Een family, he can completely say that he doesn't know. Let's secretly collect evidence. Although he is sly and cunning, there will still be traces left behind. This Een Haoyu is getting more and more outrageous. However, that Yoon Chujio is very suitable for this old man's temper. It is really venting my anger. This little girl is really fierce. Deputy Dean Jiang could not help but get excited when Yoon Chujio was mentioned. Deputy Dean Xiao also smiled and said, "This little girl actually didn't reveal the slightest bit of information in Crimson Cloud Valley. I didn't expect that she was holding back her big move. However, this little girl is also quite bold. With her actions, she is openly challenging the Een family. Even if she doesn't do this, do you think that old man Een Haoyu will let this little girl off? I think that this little girl's actions are right. At least for a short period of time, Een Haoyu will be able to calm down for a while. And for the sake of face, the Temple of Immortals will give the Een clan a lesson," Deputy Dean Jiang said. Chapter 12:15. The invitation from the wife of the hall master. That's right. Yoon Chujio is also considered to have risen from the dead. However, I am very curious. How did Yoon Chujio kill all these people? Could it really be that she did it all by herself? Deputy Dean Xiao asked, puzzled. Deputy Dean Jiang didn't quite agree. That's not possible, right? Although the little girl was quite clever, the difference in spiritual power was so great. The opponent had more than 30 people. How could she have killed them all by herself? Perhaps it was the help of the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals. Deputy Dean Xiao shook his head. No, I think that these people were all killed by the little girl. As for what method she used, I'm afraid it's not a conventional method. This little girl has a belly full of evil water. She might not have cheated them in any way. Right, this time not a single person from the Huang class was eliminated. This is too strange. Could it be that Ji Sha's teaching level is so high? In less than half a year, he has completely transformed those students with average aptitude? Deputy Dean Jiang asked in puzzlement. Deputy Dean Xiao thought for a moment and said, although Ji Sha is not bad, it's impossible for him to make such great progress in such a short period of time. I heard that the students of the Huang class move in groups. Perhaps this is more efficient and their results are also more average. Although they can't be particularly good, they won't be eliminated. Deputy Dean Jiang said suspiciously, it's that simple. I feel that there's something fishy about it. Forget it. Since the mid-year competition is over, We can relax for a month. That's right. We can use this opportunity to visit our old friends. At this moment, Deputy Dineen's face was ashen. He didn't expect that more than 30 secret guards couldn't even kill a little girl at the second level of the spirit sect. What made him even angrier was that they were all killed by Yun Chujo. They were simply stupid to the extreme. What made him angrier the most was that this smelly girl actually declared war on him so arrogantly. She was simply slapping the Yin family's face. Smelly girl, don't be complacent. It's going to be a months-long vacation soon. If you leave the Tianyuan Academy, I will definitely kill you. Deputy Dineen looked at the corpses on the ground with a face full of disgust. However, he couldn't just leave them there. He could only wave his hand and put them into his storage ring. Then he stormed into the courtyard angrily. The next morning, the elimination list for each grade was announced, and the half-yearly long vacation began. Junior sister Little 9. What are your plans for this month? Feng Ming asked. Yun Chujo sighed. It's a pity that only spiritual venerables can pass through the barriers of the two continents. Otherwise, I could use this month to go back and see grandfather and the others. Since I can't go back, then I'll just stay in the Tianyuan Academy and cultivate. Feng Ming blinked and asked mischievously, Junior sister Little Joe, young Master D, no, your excellency should be coming to look for you, right? Yun Chujo pouted. The old witch knows that I'm on holiday, so she must be watching me very closely. I reckon that the pretty boy can't get away. Feng Ming's face stiffened when he heard Yun Chujia's two strange names. In the Tianyuan continent, only junior sister Little Joe would dare to call the palace master's wife and your excellency that way. What Yun Chujo did not expect was that the next day, Manager Luo from the Temple of Immortals had arrived. Ninth Miss, under the orders of the palace master's wife, I invite you to the Temple of Immortals for a long holiday, Manager Luo said respectfully. She had naturally looked down on a little girl from the Qingxian continent in the beginning, but after these few incidents, she deeply understood one thing, and that was that she would rather offend the palace master's wife than offend this little girl. This little girl was really despicable. Chapter 12:16 Inviting a daughter-in-law into the house. Yun Chujo thought she was hallucinating. Oh my God, is the sun rising from the north? The old witch invited me to the Temple of Immortals. Isn't she afraid of inviting a wolf into the house? Bah, bah. It should be inviting a daughter-in-law into the house. Manager Luo, why is my aunt suddenly so good to me? Yun Chujo asked while blinking her eyes. The corner of Manager Luo's eyes twitched. Reporting to Miss Zhou, not only has the palace mistress invited you, she has also invited Miss Qin, Miss Bai Li, and Miss Yin. I will send a letter to the other three young ladies later. The corner of Yun Chujia's mouth curled up. No wonder she had become a manager, showing off her achievements without batting an eyelid. She said with a smile, Manager Luo, every time those little bastards visit the Longevity Palace, will they reward you with money or gifts? Even in her dreams, Manager Luo never thought that Yun Chujo would ask such an embarrassing question. Her expression was slightly unnatural as she said, there are some, but every time I accept it, I will report it to the palace mistress. Oh, I know. You go and deliver the letter to them. Yun Chujo waved her claws and said. Manager Luo's face was full of confusion. What did she mean? What do you mean you know? You just asked me one sentence without thinking? However, even though she was extremely puzzled, she didn't dare to ask. She then went to deliver the letter to Qin Mingzhu and the others. After Manager Luo left, Yun Chujo took out the voice transmission talisman and asked Di Baiming, Prince Charming, what is your mother planning this time? I just heard about it. I guess she wants you guys to accompany her to relieve her boredom. Don't worry, I will do everything. Di Baiming actually didn't believe what he said. His mother was probably thinking of ways to bully little Joe again, but according to past experience, it was hard to say who would bully who in the end. Yun Chujo curled her lips. Relieve her boredom? There might not be any tricks up her sleeve. However, when the time comes, we'll take it as it comes. Old witch, are you trying to trick me? I'll make you lose everything. Soon Manager Luo returned again. Miss Zhou, let's set off. Manager Luo had always been a little apprehensive about the gift that Yun Chujio had asked. What exactly did this little girl want to do? There was nothing much for cultivators to pack. Their things were all in their storage rings, so they could just lift their legs and leave. Therefore, Yun Chujio did not waste any time and followed Manager Luo out of the Tianyuan Academy. Qin Mingzhu and the other two had already waited at the academy's entrance. The five of them boarded their flying spirit tools and headed straight for the Palace of Immortals. Yun Chujio and the other two were not the only ones on the flying spirit tools. There were also dozens of secret guards. Qin Mingzhu and the others had special identities, so the palace mistress would naturally be prepared to prevent any accidents from happening. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart when she boarded the flying spirit tool. What a prodigal old witch! Why did she make a flying spirit tool so luxurious? What a prodigal! Manager Luo saw Yun Chujio staring at the thing on the flying spirit tool with sparkling eyes. She had an inexplicable ominous feeling in her heart. Sure enough, her premonition came true. This blanket is not bad. It looks very high-end and high-class. I'll take it. This reclining chair is really comfortable. I'll take it. This lamp looks quite unique. I'll take it. Manager Luo was about to cry. The things on it were all meticulously collected by the palace mistress. If all of them were taken away by the little girl, the palace mistress would definitely be furious. Yun Chujio saw Manager Luo's expression and comforted her. Manager Luo, you don't have to worry. I'll tell Aunt myself. She dotes on me the most. She definitely won't be reluctant to part with it. That cushion is not bad. I'll take it too. Chapter 12:17 This is my reward to you. Manager Luo looked at the flying spirit tool that was almost completely plundered. She wanted to find a rope and hang herself. Forget it, she was just a servant. It was better to let the palace master's wife ask for it from the little pervert. Yun Chujio took advantage of him, so she was naturally in a good mood. She said with a smile, Manager Luo, you have served my aunt hard. This 200,000 high-grade spirit stones is just a small token. No, Miss Jo. I appreciate your kindness. I don't dare to accept this spirit stone. Manager Luo was so scared that she almost sat on the ground. Damn, what was this little pervert trying to do? Would she be kind enough to reward me with spirit stones? Stop joking. It would be good if she didn't blackmail me. Yun Chujio's small face fell. Manager Luo, are you looking down on me? Although I'm not as rich as the three senior sisters, my aunt has given me a lot of spirit stones. I don't care about these spirit stones. If you don't accept them, you're looking down on me. Manager Luo was about to cry. It was the first time he felt that spirit stones were so scary, but he didn't dare not accept them. He then said, Thank you very much, Miss Jo. Yun Chujio said with satisfaction, That's right. You should be rewarded for taking good care of your aunt. I'm the most generous person. Three senior sisters, don't you want to express your gratitude? Yun Chujio changed the topic and looked at Qin Mingzhu and the other two. Then she said, I am sorry. There's something wrong with my question. You will definitely reward me for my kindness. Don't blame me. Don't take it to heart. Just pretend that I didn't say anything. Qin Mingzhu and the other two's faces stiffened. Pretend that you didn't say anything? Since you said it, can we pretend that we didn't hear it? Moreover, you've already rewarded us with a pauper. If we don't reward you, how will Manager Luo view us? After hearing what she said to the palace mistress, will she have a good impression of us? Most importantly, you're usually the most stingy. This time you actually offered 200,000 high-grade spirit stones. How much do you want us to reward you with? It can't be less than you, right? However, Manager Luo was the wife's right-hand woman. It was worth it to curry favor with her. Qin Mingzhu was the first to speak. Manager Luo, what Junior Yun said makes sense. You have served the wife without complaint. You are indeed a meritorious person. This 300,000 high-grade spirit stones can be considered as a small token of my appreciation. Although Qin Mingzhu said it casually, her heart ached terribly. 300,000. However, it couldn't be less than Yun Chujio. Otherwise, Manager Luo might think that she wasn't as sincere as Yun Chujio. Just as Manager Luo was about to decline, Yun Chujo said, Manager Luo, you have to treat everyone equally. If you accept mine, how can you not accept senior sister Qin's? Quickly put it away. Otherwise, senior sister Qin will be unhappy. Qin Mingzhu also said with a slightly sullen face, Junior sister Yun is right. If Manager Luo doesn't accept it, then you are looking down on me. For the first time, Manager Luo felt that accepting gifts was such a terrible thing, so she could only accept Qin Ming's 300,000 high-grade spirit stones. Since Qin Mingzhu had already given it to them, Bailey Yin and Yin Sulian naturally couldn't be reconciled to others. Each of them also gave Manager Luo 300,000 high-grade spirit stones. Manager Luo felt that these spirit stones were simply a hot potato. After thanking her, she went to another room and prepared to report this matter to the palace master's wife. Just as she entered the room, before she could organize her words, she heard someone knocking on the door. Manager Luo opened the door. I'm looking for you for something. Can you help me see why this lamp isn't lit? Yun Chujo held the lamp that she had stolen and muttered. Chapter 12:18 was really too shameless. Manager Luo had no choice but to open the door. Yun Chujo carried the lamp into the room, then closed the door and took out the isolation disc to open it. Only then did she say with a smile, Manager Luo, I've helped you so much. Don't you have something to show for it? Manager Luo's face was full of confusion, and it took her a long time to react. She hurriedly transferred the 200,000 high-grade spirit stones to Yun Chujo. Miss Jiu, this spirit stone, you take it. Yun Chujo curled her lips. This 200,000 is mine to begin with. I lent it to you as bait. You caught such a big fish and took it all for yourself? 900,000 spirit stones, why didn't you give me half of it? Manager Luo felt that there was no one who could be so shameless. She felt that Yun Chujo had completely refreshed her understanding of shamelessness. It turned out that people could be so shameless? Yun Chujo saw Manager Luo's stunned face. She said unhappily, Why are you so greedy? If I didn't raise the price, they wouldn't even give you this small amount of reward every time. Now you still have so much left. People can't be too greedy. Hurry up and transfer me 450,000 or 500,000. Manager Luo transferred 450,000 to Yun Chujo without thinking. Then, Yun Chujo said with a smile, That's right. We need to be honest in business. We have a good cooperation this time. Let's continue the cooperation next time. Manager Luo did not recover until Yun Chujo left the room for a long time. Shameless. Too shameless. Didn't you just say a few words? On what basis did you split 450,000 spirit stones? Qin Mingzhu and the others gave me spirit stones on account of the palace master's wife. What has it got to do with you? Manager Luo picked up the voice transmission talisman and reported the matter to the palace master's wife. After hearing it, the palace master's wife was so angry that she started to twitch. This little trash is really greedy and shameless. Just you wait, when we reach my territory you'll see how we'll deal with you. Yun Chujo made a small fortune and was in a good mood. Looking at the three love rivals, she became a lot more pleasing to the eye. The journey is boring. I have a good storybook here. Do you want to read it? Yun Chujo asked Qin Mingzhu and the other two with a smile. Bailey Yin said happily, Really? What storybook? Of course it's the best storybook. Usually, I can't bear to lend it to others. Yun Chujo said as she took out a stack of storybooks and gave one to Qin Mingzhu and the other two. The three of them looked down and immediately blushed. Yin Xinlian threw the storybook to Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo. You have no sense of shame. You actually read such a storybook. Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yen also threw the script to Yun Chujo one after another. They said disapprovingly, Junior Yun, how can you read such a script? It's really immoral. You really don't know how to appreciate a good person's heart. If you don't want to read it, then forget it. I'll read it myself. You guys can just sit there and rely on it. Yun Chujo felt very regretful in her heart. She originally thought that they would like to read it and earn a sum of money. She didn't expect that they actually didn't like it. They really did not know how to appreciate beauty. Qin Mingzhu and the other two looked at Yun Chujo, who was watching with great interest with disdain. The people from the lower tier were indeed vulgar. A little girl actually read that kind of script. She really did not know how to be shameless. However, Een Xinlian's heart moved. The palace mistress had always loathed Yun Chuzhou. She had thought of a way to reveal the fact that Yun Chuzhou read this kind of script to the palace mistress. The palace mistress would definitely loathe her even more. Once she lost the protection of the palace mistress, killing her would be a piece of cake. Chapter 12:19 The Old Witch's Show of Force that morning. The flying spirit tool arrived at the Temple of Immortals. The Temple of Immortals was on a high mountain surrounded by clouds and mist. Exotic flowers and plants were everywhere, as if it was a fairyland. The 10,000-year-old heritage was indeed not to be underestimated. The identities of the four of them were naturally not worthy of the palace master's wife coming out personally to welcome them. Manager Luo brought the four of them directly to the courtyard where they could rest. Qin Mingzhu and the other two often came to attend banquets, so they were arranged to stay in the courtyard where they usually stayed. Yun Chuzhou did not know what it meant to be reserved, so she went in one by one to take a look. The furnishings in the house were very exquisite. One look and it was obvious that it was worth a lot. In her heart, she scolded the old witch who squandered her family dozens of times. After looking at the residence of Qin Mingzhu and the other two, Manager Luo brought Yun Chuzhou to her residence. No matter how Yun Chuzhou looked at it, she felt that Manager Luo had a secret in his heart. She did not even dare to look at her. Manager Luo's heart was on the verge of breaking down. This little ancestor would definitely cause a ruckus in a while. My dear, you've really dug a hole for me. The two of them walked for a full hour before arriving at a remote small courtyard. When Yun Chuzhou saw the small courtyard, she immediately understood why Manager Luo was trembling in fear. It turned out that the old witch wanted to show her off. Manager Luo braced herself and took out the jade token to open the small courtyard. It was obvious that no one had lived there for a long time. The weeds grew taller than people. Manager Luo stuttered that ninth miss, the palace mistress said that you like silence. This place is more suitable for you. Bullshit. She was not a mouse who liked dark corners. Manager Luo saw Yun Chuzhou's gloomy face and became even more nervous. This little pervert would not hit her directly, right? Yun Chuzhou did not get angry and said lightly, since Aunt arranged for me to be here, I naturally have no objections. Get a few servants to come over and let them help me clean up. Manager Luo was very surprised that Yun Chuzhou was so calm. She could still make the decision to arrange a few servants. He quickly said, okay. I'll immediately arrange for the servants to come and listen to your arrangements. Miss Zhou, I'll go see the palace master's wife first. If there's anything, just ask the servants to look for me. Manager Luo saw that Yun Chuzhou nodded and left as if she was flying away. She looked like she was running away in a panic. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. Wasn't she just scamming her for some spirit stones? Was there a need to be so afraid of her? Yun Chuzhou waited for a long while before four maids came over, chatting and laughing. Most of their spirit power was around the 6th or 7th level of the spirit sect. When they came to Yun Chuzhou's side, they gave a perfunctory bow. Chunhua, Xiaohe, Qiuyu, and Dong Shui greet Miss Zhou. Yun Chuzhou sneered in her heart. They didn't take her seriously at all. She didn't know whether it was their own idea or the old witch's instruction. Well, let's start cleaning. I'll give you 4 hours, Yun Chuzhou said lightly. The four of them said they would start cleaning after that. However, the efficiency was very low. The four of them were obviously not working hard and were talking and laughing. After 2 hours, the weeds in the yard had not been completely removed, not to mention the inside of the house. Yun Chuzhou was meditating and cultivating at the side. She only glanced at them occasionally and continued to cultivate without changing her expression. Soon 4 hours had passed. Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes and saw that although the weeds in the yard had been removed, there were still grass roots exposed outside. The four of them were chatting and laughing. They had no intention of cleaning the house. Yun Chuzhou stood up and said indifferently, "Have you finished cleaning up?" Chapter 12:20 will teach you a lesson that Chunhua girl did not bow either. She said directly, "Miss Zhou, these 4 hours are too short. We can't finish cleaning at all. It's exhausting for the four of us to get rid of these weeds. Let's take a rest first. We'll clean the house later. Yun Chujo nodded. Then how long do you need to rest before you can clean the house? Seeing that Yun Chujo was so easy to talk to, Chunhua nodded. Her attitude became even more disrespectful. Miss Jo, you also know that the maids of the Temple of Immortals are almost the same as the ladies of ordinary families. We rarely do such rough work, so naturally we will be slower. If it really is impossible, you can just make do in the courtyard tonight. We will come and clean the house tomorrow. Hearing Chunhua's words, Yun Chujia's expression remained unchanged. Instead, she asked the other three maids, "What do the three of you say?" Xiaohe pursed her lips. Sister Chunhua is right. We are born and raised in the Tianyuan continent and rarely do hard work. We might not be able to finish cleaning in one day tomorrow. If Ninth Miss is really anxious, you can do it yourself. I reckon that you can do it better than us. Qiu Yu and Dong Shui also agreed. That's right. If Ninth Miss is really anxious, you can do it yourself. You will definitely do it better than us. Yun Chujo sneered in her heart. Is she mocking me for having a low background and doing manual labor all the time? Chunhua, come here for a moment. I have something for you. Yun Chujo hooked her finger at Chunhua. Chunhua pursed her lips. This Yun Chujo was probably trying to bribe her with something. Humph, what good could a little girl from a low-level interface have? However, she still walked over. Miss Jo, what do you want to give me? Yun Chujo suddenly leaped forward and kicked at Chunhua. Chunhua's spiritual power was lower than Yun Chujia's, and she was not prepared at all. She was sent flying by Yun Chujia's kick and directly smashed into the door of the house. Fortunately, the door was relatively sturdy and did not suffer any damage. On the contrary, Chunhua directly fell and fainted. The other three maids were stunned at first. Then they cried out in surprise and helped Chunhua up. Xiaohe angrily asked Miss Jo, "What right do you have to kick Chunhua? The palace master's wife has never hit us before. What right do you have?" Yun Chujia's eyes darkened, and she suddenly jumped towards her and grabbed her neck. Xiaohe's face turned purple, and just as she was about to die, Yun Chujo let go and said coldly, "What right do you have? Just because I am the palace master's wife, my aunt invited guests, and you are maids. Moreover, what right do idiots like you have to question me? People born and bred in the Tianyuan continent? Is it that great?" I'll still beat Yin Sulian, and I'll kill the Yin family's secret guards. Do you think that your little maids can challenge me? Yun Chujo turned around and kicked Qiu Yu and Dong Shui away. I'll give you 2 hours. If you still can't satisfy us, I'll kill you. Do you think that my aunt will punish me for you 4 idiots who have offended their superiors? Yun Chujo said coldly. Chunhua and the others felt that the little girl in front of them was like a completely different person from before. The little girl from before was weak and easy to bully, but now she was like a jinx. It was comparable to the majesty of the emperor. It was too scary. The 4 of them got up and quickly cleaned up. This time it was completely different from before. They wished they could grow 2 more hands and even pull out the grass on the roof. Yun Chujo sneered in her heart. Some people bullied the weak and were afraid of the strong. She had to teach them a lesson so that they would understand what it meant to be tactful. Chapter 1221 had to be worth the trip 2 hours later. The entire courtyard looked brand new. Other than the lack of spirit plants, it looked pretty good. Chunhua and the other 3 were much more respectful this time, and there was even a hint of fear in them. Miss Jo were done cleaning. Yun Chujo glanced at them. She opened the isolation disc and said calmly, "Did you hear what someone said? Is that why you think I'm a country bumpkin who's easy to bully? Tell us the truth, or I'll draw 2 little bastards on your faces." When Chunhua and the other 3 heard Yun Chujia's question, they were shocked, but they did not dare to keep it a secret. They could only tell her the truth. It was Sister Dian Shui. She said that you're far inferior to the other 3 ladies and that you're just a passerby. The palace master's wife doesn't like you very much and can't wait for you to make a fool of yourself. Who the hell is Dian Shui? Sister Dian Shui is one of the palace master's wife's 4 handmaidens. Her status is much higher than ours. She said it when she was chatting with us yesterday. Yun Chujo nodded. Every time Yin Xinlian and the others come. How do you usually prepare 3 meals a day? The palace master's wife will assign a servant girl to each lattice courtyard. She will be in charge of fetching meals and such. It seems that the palace master's wife has not arranged any servant girls for you. Which direction is the canteen? Yun Chujo sneered in her heart. Old witch, do you think you can make fun of me like this? Let's wait and see. Chunhua pointed at the northeast corner. The canteen is in the northeast corner of the Hall of Immortals. Yun Chujo looked at the northeast corner. There was a faint smoke rising from the kitchen. It was probably the canteen. Tell me everything about the Hall of Immortals. If you are hiding anything, humph. Yun Chujo took out a large kitchen knife from her storage ring and waved it in front of the 4 people. Miss Jo, this isn't good, is it? If the lady of the temple master finds out, she won't forgive us. Chunhua said with a trembling voice. Yun Chujo held the large kitchen knife and rubbed it against her face. If you don't tell me, I won't tell you. How will my aunt find out? Besides, what secret can you know? It's just something that almost everyone in the Temple of Immortals knows. It's not a secret at all. But if you don't tell us, there will be 2 more decorations on your handsome faces. Are you going to tell us or not? Chunhua and the other 3 were on the verge of tears. They had originally thought that they were here to bully the country bumpkins, but now they had become the targets of threats. The 4 of them looked at each other. Yun Chujo was right. As long as they did not tell them, no one would know that they were the ones who had said it. Moreover, they could just choose some things that they could say. Hence, the 4 of them explained the basic situation of the Temple of Immortals. For example, this was only the back hall of the Temple of Immortals. The Venerable One lived in the front hall, and usually handled matters in the front hall. Debeiming was sent away by the palace master's wife. He probably would not return for 10 days to half a month. The Venerable One was in closed-door cultivation. The food in the Temple of Immortals canteen was very delicious. When Yun Chujo heard that the food in the cafeteria was very delicious, her heart was filled with joy. Oh right, the gigolo had brought her many delicious dishes before. They were probably cooked by the longevity hall. This trip must not be in vain. Chunhua and the other 3 spoke until their mouths were dry. There was really nothing more to say, so they said with a sobbing voice, Miss Jo, we have told you everything we know. We really don't know anything else. Yun Chujo naturally knew that they were picky, but she did not care. She waved her hand, indicating that they could leave. The 4 of them ran away as if there was a wolf chasing them. Chapter 12:22 I'm here to order dishes. Yun Chujo pouted and entered the house. Although this courtyard was not exquisite, the house was still quite well equipped. There was a study, a living room and a bedroom. It was getting late, so the old witch probably would not summon her. She might as well go to the canteen for a stroll. She had nothing better to do. Yun Chujo followed the smoke and arrived at the canteen of the Temple of Immortals. In fact, this canteen only provided food for the people of the rear hall. Besides, there were only 3 masters of the Temple of Immortals, and the only people left in the rear hall were maids and servants, so the canteen was not very big. It was the time for dinner. The servants were taking turns to eat dinner. When they saw Yun Chujo, they were all stunned. Most of them had never seen Yun Chujo before. The steward of the canteen was an old man of some age. He stood up and asked, Miss, may I ask if you have something to do? I am a guest of the Hall of Immortals. My aunt said that the dishes cooked by your canteen are very delicious. She asked me to come over and order a few dishes. Can you help me introduce your specialty dishes? Yun Chujo found a chair and sat down. She said with a smile. A guest of the Hall of Immortals? Everyone immediately knew Yun Chujo's identity. The gossip among the servants spread the fastest, especially the words of Dian Shui, which had already spread throughout the circle of servants. The way everyone looked at Yun Chujo immediately changed. It was just like what Dian Shui had said. The people from Qingxian continent were indeed inexperienced. A guest like you actually came to the canteen to order food. You are really thick-skinned. They did not expect you to be a good-looking good-for-nothing. The steward of the canteen did not change his attitude. He took out a list and handed it to Yoon Chujio. Miss Yoon, the dishes on this list are all the dishes that our canteen is good at. Please choose. Yoon Chujio took the menu and glanced at it. Many of the dishes looked familiar. It seemed that the dishes that the gigolo brought to her were all prepared by this small canteen. However, it was also true that the food in the front hall was provided by the secret guards, so it was naturally more rugged. Yoon Chujio picked 6 dishes that she liked. Just these 6 dishes. They are not too complicated. It will save time to cook them. Before the steward of the canteen could respond, a sharp voice said, "Humph." It sounded as if she had eaten them before. Some people really took themselves seriously. Miss Xinlian would not be picky every time she came, and she was very generous. She was a proper lady from a big family. Yoon Chujio looked at the person who spoke. It was a maid in pink. She looked pretty good, but the expression on her face was sharp and mean, which was really unpleasant. Yoon Chujio looked at her indifferently. "What's your name? What are you in charge of?" Lu Yi, you're in charge of cleaning the hall master's wife's living room. What do you have against it?" "Lu Yi? Very good. Come over here for a moment. I'll reward you with something good," Yoon Chujio said calmly. Lu Yi curled her lips and twisted her waist as she walked in front of Yoon Chujio. What good stuff can there be in the Qingxian continent? If it's not valuable, don't take it out and embarrass yourself. Yoon Chujio smiled at her. "The thing I gave you is very special. You will definitely like it. Come closer." Lu Yi thought to herself, this Yoon Chujio heard that she was in charge of the living room. She must be trying to please her. She wanted to see what good stuff she could have. Lu Yi took another 2 steps forward. Yoon Chujio suddenly stood up and grabbed Lu Ye's neck, restraining her spiritual power. Lu Ye's eyes widened in horror. Yoon Chujio tapped her body a few more times. Lu Yi realized that she could not move anymore and screamed, "What are you doing? The palace mistress will not forgive you." You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.